Good afternoon, folks. Welcome back for another Tass Talk. I'm Tassinix. Our special guest today, the inimitable, the one and only, SWGOH Yeti. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be included, even though of my retiring and whatnot.
Yeah, well, I knew as soon as I started doing this talk segment, I wanted to have you as a guest player. No, I mean,
Oh,
you're a
shit.
staple of the community. You're a damn fun guy. Honestly, I miss the hell out of your streams. It was
Yeah,
always entertaining, whether or not you were having a tough day. With
yeah,
the
yeah.
actual battles, man, that shit was fun to watch.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the streams I definitely miss the streams. I miss the interaction, miss the people. I gotta be honest, I don't miss the game at all. Like I thought I would miss the game. I really genuinely did. And it was like as soon as I got over the initial, like I would wake up and I would open up my Nox player and I would do like some, a lot of my daily maintenance while I'm having coffee in the morning. Like once I got over what do I do while I'm having coffee, that was it. Was like, oh, and like I said, I actually in the back of my head was like almost positive I would be back in the game after about a month, but nah, just
You
it
know,
just doesn't appeal anymore.
I want
Um,
you to enjoy what you're doing with your time. There's a part of me that hopes that something changes to make you want to look at coming back to the game again.
yeah.
That's a selfish feeling of mine.
Do you know what the funny part is the only thing that I think that could get me to come back is just simply the community, just missing the interaction with the community. Because that's the only thing that I do like genuinely miss.
I believe it.
Like on a Friday night, I'm sitting and doing, if I'm not doing anything, I'm just like, man, it would be nice to like throw up a stream and just like go hang out with everybody. But,
Yeah,
I don't have the game to pull, the people back in kind of thing. So,
I feel you. Well,
yeah,
I'm really interested in picking your brain here. What's life like on the other side? What have you been doing with yourself lately?
mostly, I've been like playing old RPGs that I love just in my spare time instead of, messing around with my mods and screwing around. Like I used to sit on that fucking Nox player and just like screw around with my mods, remod my account like constantly, but like 10 hours a week kind of thing,
What
making sure my mods are all
what are
top
you
top.
attacking me for here? That's what I do.
Yeah. But it's like now that at that time, that extra time is me. Like I've been replaying Cyberpunk. It's like my fourth playthrough. I fucking love that game.
I
That game is
did.
just magnificent.
I
And
never
then
picked it up because I saw like what was it, like the first month or so after the game came up, there was just endless complaint about bugs and crashes and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'll pick this up out of the discount rack someday.
do, do you know what it is? It's just it's terrible on console. It is genuinely a bad game on console.
Mm.
Like the controls are terrible, the driving is terrible. It's really rough on console because my brother played it on console, and that's what actually got me to get into it. Like I watched him play it, I was like, this game's pretty cool. And then when I got back to Canada, I got it on Steam, and it masterpiece, absolute
Hmm.
masterpiece. Like it's one of those ones where I don't think the only game that I've ever played more than this, I've already got like 500 hours on it. It's like so KOTOR 1 and 2, and then
Yeah,
Betrayal at Krondor. Those are the only games that I think I've played like more than this that are RPGs. I mean, obviously Civ 5, I have a weird addiction with that game, so
bro, we gotta play some. I mean, do you have Civ 6?
I do.
But you don't like it as much.
I don't like it at all. Like
That's
the
cool.
for me the AI in Civ 6 is just it's aggressively stupid. Like you start having to fight
It
off
is.
the religion loss or whatever like super early in the game, and you never really get that kind of like I can get going and moving even on like low difficulties. It's just like they start really going at you almost immediately, and I hate that. One thing I love about Civ is Civ 5 specifically is I can sit and build like 2 to 3 cities and make them these massive tall cities with like tons of
Yeah,
population and
small and tall.
yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and it's so relaxing to me. Like it's crazy. Like I'm so amazingly relaxed when I play Civ. Like I'll sit there with like a tea or a coffee or something, and just for like 2 hours, and I don't even I'll ignore my opponent. Like I don't do anything. Like I'll set up. My favorite way to play is I set up a duel between me and one other city state,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll set the parameters. Like I usually do either Continents Plus or I'll do
Okay.
Sandstorm.
Okay.
You know, like it's one of those.
What?
So
Remind
Continents
me
Plus
again. What's
is
Sandstorm?
Sandstorm is where you're basically in a desert environment. So there's a modded civilization called uh, Jerusalem. Sorry, what are the? It's like the Templar order essentially.
Okay.
Um, and it's really amazing because you get four houses of the Templar that you can pick for every city, and they give you different abilities.
Mm-hmm.
But so one of the ones you can pick when you found a new city allows you to get extra food from deserts, and your city acts as a water source. So
Ooh.
you can. So the reason I play Sandstorm is because you get the extra food from deserts, and with that you can get crazy huge cities. Like I would get
Yeah.
cities with population of like 75.
Oh.
Like yeah, just because
By what era
if
though? By
there's
what era? Contextualize that.
so by the time I've got non-nuclear subs, my capital is usually 60 plus in population, which is
Wow.
humongous.
So like
Um,
modern era.
Yeah, so by modern era, not future era, but my modern era, like you're rocking 65, 67 something population on your capital, which is just
That's
incredible.
crazy.
And so I constantly play with that modded civilization just because, man, it is so beautiful. Like for what I want to do, which is build these massive, massive cities, and I'll have like three cities and they'll all be like, population 40 plus. And meanwhile, my opponent's sitting over there with his population of 12 on his cap. I just find it hilarious. Like I'll be like, I have nuclear subs and you have, knights.
So you prefer to hunker down. You're gonna bulk up, and then what's your preferred victory condition? How do you like to go about it?
So I do two. I make sure that culture can't be a victory because then I would win too early, and that's just not satisfying. So
Okay.
culture is not a possible. So I either win diplomatic or what I like to do is I like to wait in if I can get at their capital from the sea. If they're about 3 squares away from the sea, essentially.
Yeah.
What I do is once I get battleships, I just build this massive fleet and I go and just ravage their entire civilization, just
Hmm.
destroy the shit out of them.
All right.
Bomb them from a distance, and then I have like one tank that just runs in and takes out their cities, basically.
So
So it'll be like I'll send like 4 to 6 battleships to go start or like bashing out their cities, and then like I'll have a destroyer to take cities that are on the coast and a tank to take cities that are on the interior.
yeah, what's your preferred civ to play?
Yeah, so it's that modded one where it's like you're the Templars essentially.
Oh, okay. So that is just a
Yeah,
different. Okay, 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 okay.
yeah. So it's that. If I'm playing unmodded, I love to play as what are they called? The Native Americans that allow you to pick, that allow you like their scout lets you pick what you get from the ruins.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
never
because then
played
I
that
can
civ, but
pick.
I know the one you're talking about, and it's been a while since I played Civ 5 because I play Civ 6 most of the time now.
Yeah,
Um, I'll say this: I like the mechanics of Civ 5 better than 6 in general. I like I
yeah.
like the way that works better.
I
But
hate
there,
how I was just to drop in about
yeah,
the
go ahead.
mechanics. It's like I bloody hate how Civ 6 the wonders take up a square. I'm like, why?
Because
Why?
I think that there's okay. I'm right there with you. I don't like losing the real estate. Like I like to
Yeah.
have a pretty tight empire because it's easier to defend, right? It's easier to move
Well,
around inside.
it's easier to defend, and once you get rolling, it's like it's a boulder like that just rolls downhill. It's impossible to stop.
But that being said, one of the nice things about this is that it is a tactical thing where you can build up these bonuses by how you choose to place your districts. That's like the big new thing of Civ 6 is
Yeah,
districts.
yeah.
And so I at first I really didn't like it because they're in Civ 5 the equivalent of districts was just a building within your city. right? So it
Yeah.
didn't have a physical presence outside the city. Now they do. So that means that you are strict by the radius around your city, you are limited in how many districts you can place. But moreover, if you're smart about it, you're trying to place districts such that they actually butt up against each other on a tile because you get bonuses for that. And
Yeah.
depending
Yeah.
on the civ, there's a whole bunch of other crap that might be tied in with that, where the multipliers get insane. But like what I really do like about Civ 6 is some of the unique civilizations. Like completely, you've never had victory conditions like this. Like first of all, my all time favorite is what's his name? Grand Colombia is the civilization, but what's his name? Hold on. I got Google for just such an occasion, you know.
Yeah.
Grand Colombia. Yeah, I see his face. What's his name? I should know this. Simon Bolivar. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so check this out. Most ridiculous thing. Straight up passive on every unit of his, +1 movement.
Okay.
What? What is that?
That's pretty big. Yeah.
Like, that's the most overpowered thing. So 1 additional movement, and they have a unique, a super powerful cavalry unit, but when you have their great generals, you can use their unique promotions to give crazy bonuses to your army. Like, if you like to do any kind of militaristic shit, these guys are dope at every stage of the game. So,
Yeah.
so that's fun, but that isn't the most unique thing, right? That's just kind of like, like a nice little benefit off of the units. But my favorite one to play is, I like to do culture victory a lot. What's her name? Eleanor of Aquitaine. So historically, she's like queen of both France and England. So they actually gave her 2 civilizations in game, as France and as England. And when you play the French version of her, she has this thing where if you're building up, you're getting your great works and you're slotting them into your buildings and stuff and getting your theming bonuses. What you're able to do is you're putting out an offensive pressure of culture, and it demoralizes surrounding like city states and enemy cities. And what it'll do is, you can cause them to bloodlessly flip loyalty, and they just join your civilization. Like, I did a conquest victory using this without firing a single shot.
That's awesome.
That was dope. Hey, Balor, good morning to you, man. See you out there in the chat. All right.
Yeah, that would be a kind of civilization that I would use, just because for me it's like I'm not usually heavy on the military. Like when I do, it's like I blitzkrieg the opponent or whatever. So
yeah,
I like the idea of that.
When you do militaristic victory, do you conquest victory? Do you like to go about it early in the game, or do you like the normal hunker down and then go mid-late on them?
Usually they do a dick move, and that means they're going to get smashed militarily.
So you're just retribution. It's like, I'm not fucking with you until you fuck with me, and then it's on.
Yeah. Like if and it's one of those, the way that my the AI can guarantee that they're going to get absolutely battered militaristically is if they put a city too close to one of my cities, then I'm like, you're so screwed. I'm going to destroy
Civ 5, they're such dicks about it, too, because they set the city down, and it's like, hey, you're treading in on my border. I'm like, you got it fucked up, son. You just found it next to me.
And the hilarious thing is, they'll be like, you're too close to our civilization, your new city. And meanwhile, it's literally like halfway across the map, and you're like, what?
Oh,
what are you talking about?
Too. Right. It's like, but there's like 50 miles of blank territory in between us, but you lay claim to it. Okay, I'll take that under advisement, asshole.
It's like when I set up my duel, when I know that I'm going to win militaristically 100% of time if I'm up against Polynesia, I just know it. I'm like, they're going to put a city too close to me, and then I'm going to get really, really bothered by them and have to kill that city. And if I kill one city, I'm sorry, I'm killing them all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't go. Yeah, exactly. It's like they always, because it's like their AI is to come and set up a city right next to your capital, and I'm like, if they ever get any, like, if they force me to lose a single square of real estate for my capital, that city is getting destroyed, and it's getting like with prejudice
raised.
Yeah. I don't claim cities. I raise them. I burn everything to the ground. Like it's one of those like I'll have three cities at the end of the game when I win militaristically, because I'll burn all their cities down and make sure that they're gone before I take their capital. It's
Yeah.
like once they're burned and gone, then I'm like, okay, now your capital's gonna die.
See, if they've got valuable infrastructure, I'll keep the city. Otherwise, yeah, to the ground with it because I can build it better if I
Yeah,
wanted to have a
well,
city in that spot.
yeah, that's the thing. Like there's very rare times when they've put a city in a place where it's going to get maximum growth potential and stuff where I'll actually keep it. Like I think the last game I played in Civ 5 maybe last week, I was playing as
Well, here,
as you know
let me just cut you off for just a second. 1 battalion strong, raiding in with a party 8. Thank you so much, man. Good afternoon. Yeah, we for all you just coming in, we've got SWGOH Yeti here with us. He's gone but not forgotten. He's done with the game,
yeah.
but not done with all of you. Ram Bam,
Exactly,
good to see you,
exactly.
man.
Oh, it's Rambam in the house. What up, baby? Yeah, so yeah, so there was like a spot on the map where my natural progression, I was like, okay, my second city goes here, and then my third city is going to go there, and then those bastards went and legitimately took the exact spot where I was going to drop a city. And I remember being like, you know what? That fits. What I'm going to do is as soon as I get um, my artillery, I'll go and take it. And then that's literally just what I did is I got three artillery, rolled it towards his borders, and then pop, 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 took it. And then, at that point I was rolling so strong that I just basically like I used money and bought like all the upgrades to the city and got it basically maxed out right away and like all the dimensions and everything and
That's
then
something you
made
can do
people
a lot less of in Civ 6 is they made it extremely cost prohibitive to just try and like
yeah.
whale out on a city and just like pop up a well-developed city in a couple of turns. But
Yeah, because that's like my main thing is the way I like to play is I like to do all these I like maximize my trade routes, make sure I'm earning maximum gold. Like the way I build, it's like gold starts rolling in. So
yep.
that way when I do my third city or fourth city or whatever, because I usually have one that comes mid to late game, is that thing gets maxed out like immediately just through cash. Just
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
yeah.
So, for those of you who just got rated in here, how we got onto talking about civilization was I was just picking Yeti's brain here about what's life like on the other side. What's he been up to? He said he was
Yeah.
playing some Cyberpunk. He's been playing some Civ. And that's where I had some questions because I haven't played Civ in a while, but I love the game. What else you been up to, man?
For the most part, just working out, keeping everything
Yeah,
keeping
you're
everything
looking well. You're
going,
looking healthy.
keep my pop collection growing.
Beautiful. So I know you moved some time ago. You look all settled in and everything.
Oh
Everything
yeah,
going
yeah.
well there.
Yeah, it was a good move. It was one of those ones that made a lot of financial sense, so I kind of did it on that turn and it's great because it brings me a little bit closer to my family in Phoenix and stuff because I've got my brother and my mom down there, so I was just down there for a couple of weeks, which is nice. I'm gonna go back down for about a month or two or something in late spring, I think.
Dig it.
Take the cat and go chill. Like now that I can get him over across the border and stuff, which is
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Or
You know,
at some point, if it's convenient, you'll have to show off the kitty. Let's see the Yeti.
he's around somewhere. Yeti.
Yeah. I
Nice.
mean, I have a channel point redemption thing for people to force me to catch one of my cats. One of them's very easy to catch, loves to be picked up. The other one's like Tasmanian devil and makes mincemeat out of me when I try.
Yeah, usually Yeti's pretty close to me, but in the morning sometimes he just sleeps in the warm spot in the bed when I get out.
Dig it, dig it. Well, I'm glad to hear you're doing well and everything. I'd love to, try and catch you up a little bit on the, horse shit going on in this game since you
Yeah,
left.
most
Before we booted up here today, I was telling you, and I guess you already knew about it, so you're keeping well informed about GAC laying an egg, right?
Yeah. So like my Discord server is still pretty live, and we still
Yeah.
got a decent amount of chatter in there and stuff, and which is nice. So I do keep up to date with what they tell me anyway. So that was a big one in chat yesterday was the shutdown of GAC, and it's one of those where every time it happens, I'm like $1 billion game, baby, billion
Exactly,
dollar game.
exactly. $1 billion game problems. But here's what you might not have known. So this was supposed to be round two, attack phase starting last night, right? So
Yeah.
they realized that they had this bug with the banners and everything. They said they were going to shut it down. And they even screwed that up because when the time came for it to shut down, you had it like I started streaming at like 8 p.m. and they shut it off 9:15 p.m. my time. So I had an hour and 15 minutes to clear the board. I did clear the board, so I got the credits, right? I at least get to keep the credits for the clears.
Yeah.
But then it was supposed to be closed out. And instead they actually kicked you forward then to round 3. So if you were enterprising, you had a back-to-back speed gack, and at least you were going for credits.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to fully clear my second opponent last night, but it was enough to get the quote-unquote W. And they did change it so that when you're quote-unquote winning these rounds, you get 1 credit for it. They did,
Yeah.
they gimped the rewards and everything, but God, what a mess.
That's just ridiculous. Like I'm just sitting here thinking about, I'm like, man, like how the fuck did that happen? Like,
I
oh
know.
man,
I
like talk about serious screw ups, like serious screw ups.
And
But
they said they're going to
they've got
compensate.
one.
They said they're going to compensate. So it's like, the
Yeah.
question is how many Clone Wars Chewbacca shards is in it for us?
If there better be 3. If they don't do 3, then you know what? They're jipping you on some Clone Wars Chewie shards. And if they do more than 3, they're being pretty generous.
Yeah, not more, not less. Okay.
Yeah.
I can appreciate where you're coming from with that.
Needs to be 3. That's like the traditional Clone Wars Chewie deployment there.
Now, I think at the time that you retired, this was just around the time of the announcement of the Star Killer requirement characters. Is that about right?
Yes. Yeah. I retired in the end of about mid-November.
Yeah.
So Star Killer, I found out all that through my Discord. So I didn't get I wasn't around for some of the requirements and such. I think right when I was quitting was when what's his name? The guy who starts with D, Dash, got
Dash Rendar.
got put on him.
Yeah, I'm working on him. So yes, they released these 4 characters that you need for Star Killer. So, what is that? Like figure 300 between 200 and 300 just for shards, and then if you didn't have the gear on hand, like another $100 just for gear probably.
If you're doing gamble packs, every character would be between $300 to $400 with the gamble packs, depending.
So
sometimes 500 if you get
gear, right?
yeah. So 500 would be an unlucky one. The reason I have these numbers is just I remember watching Arnold back in the day when Django came out. When I first started playing, I remember him wailing out on gamble packs, and it took him $450 to get Django. And watching that once, I was like, I will never ever buy a single gamble pack.
I mean, I wanted this shiny new toy and everything, but yeah, I was thinking like, these people must be outside their damn minds. You want me to shell out damn near $2,000 just before Christmas?
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah, that's one of the things that got me like kind of off the game was the constant need to spend. And it's one of those. I spent. I didn't make any bones about it. Like when I got my Twitch payout every month, a good portion of it went to making sure the account was growing, and and it was one of those. Like I felt like it was necessary for my viewers
for the biddies.
to.
Sins, thank you for the biddies, man. Appreciate you. 100 biddies from Sins of the Father.
It's like I feel like it was I owed it to my viewers to make sure that my account was the best account I can make it. And all that extra work and stuff went in there. But it's something that just keeps building up, and you're sitting there going like, I would love it if for a month I didn't have to spend.
Well, interesting you should say that, because I've only been picking up like the 6 E plus slicing packs, stuff like that. I've not bought a vault, and I don't know how long here, like probably going on 3 months now. Because I'm just like I'm using my Twitch payout and Patreon mostly just to help with bills, because my wife is the one working full time right now, and it makes the situation a lot easier for me to justify the amount of time I spend on this shit when I can put something against the bottom line. So
100%, 100%, and and it's one of those like it's a lot of work, setting up stuff like this where like the streaming your GAC or whatever is the easy part, because you know what you need to do, and you know how long it's going to take, and when it's the tempo, and how to how often it's going to happen and stuff. But doing anything extracurricular is actually it's pretty difficult. You've got to come up with an idea that's people actually like.
By the way, yeah, guys, I'm gonna plug my Discord here real quick. I am thinking about adding more. Thanks
Thank you
for
for the
dovetailing right into this
biddies.
here, Yeti. Oh,
Hey,
thank you, Absolution. Thank you for the 100 biddies. We're
oh,
real
we're close to a hype
hype
train, ladies
guys.
and gentlemen. 100 bits will make a hype train happen just if we get a third person dropping in there. Yo,
Guys,
what's up,
I
Abso? How you doing,
believe in
man?
yous. I believe in yous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But anyway, I was gonna say, guys, on my Discord, shoot me your ideas about what you want to see me do. Like, I wanna start making short videos for YouTube. I'm trying to, if I'm spending all this time and I'm making some money do it, let's make more money doing it. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
let's try and actually build this up into something where I can pay bills and actually have some money to throw in vaults and shit like that. So tell me what you guys want to see me do, because I mean we've got a good number of great content creators in this game, and there's an argument that some people just want to see maybe my take on the same thing that others are doing, and I hear that. But maybe you want to hear my take on something that no one's doing, and that would be more interesting, right, for everybody? Because that's one of the reasons why I didn't make Conquest videos, Galactic Challenge videos, stuff like that. There's people who already are knocking out of that park, and what do I want to step on their toes for? I don't have anything to add to that conversation that they don't already do for you, right? I don't want to be redundant. Nobody wants that.
So you know what? That's really funny that you bring that up because that was something that I thought about. Yeah, nice to hear from you, Ab. So, yeah, so that's something that I personally felt, there were other people doing it well. So, like I didn't want to have to try to rush to fight for views with that and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Especially because I didn't like Conquest at all, and I didn't like the challenges. So for me, rushing to do them was it was one of those ones where I'm like, I don't even want to do this. So like trying to make an engaging video of it is going to be rough,
Yeah, and I mean, to some degree, if you're actually trying to make it, so-called, make it on YouTube or whatever, I can't just be doing only what I want to do. I have to do what the people
Yeah.
want. And
Well,
that's something
yeah,
I got to shake
yeah.
myself out of because, I mean, of course I want to do what I want to do, but that's a little limited, right?
Yeah, so yeah, my YouTube channel never really got to monetization. I think at best I was up to about 700 or something, but I didn't do a ton of extra stuff on top of the GAC just because
Yeah.
it's just it was one of those. It was like when I did YouTube is a fickle beast. So when you do like a really good guide or something, which I have a couple that were like excellent guides on things where I put in a lot of time and effort and stuff, and then you'd get the views. You'd get like I remember I had one video that was like 4,000 views or something like that, but it'd have like 21 likes. I'm like, really?
I mean,
Like,
I
come on,
gotta,
guys,
I gotta try.
just hit that fucking thumbs up. That's all you gotta do. Like, it's not difficult. Like, just get
gotta
me
try.
moving in the algorithm. Come on.
I gotta try making some other short videos because just like what you were saying, my YouTube is just a dumping grounds for my GAC streams. I'll put in chapters
Yeah.
so you don't have to watch like between 2 and 3 hours of stream long form. So if you don't catch the VOD on Twitch or whatever, you can
Yeah.
you can get at me that way. But I've been getting advice from people. Got to start making like 10-minute videos, stuff like that, and I have to think on that. But like I have like 89 followers on my YouTube channel, so
Wow.
very early
That's-
days YouTube wise.
I was gonna say that's. I would have thought you had more. That's pretty low for someone like you.
Well, I mean, I appreciate you saying it, but again,
Yeah.
it's like you're the only reason to come to the YouTube at this point in time is just to catch the GAC, and most people are, if they're into following me, they're just going to catch me live on Twitch, yeah? So
Yeah, so one thing I would recommend, which is what I did, is make it so you don't have a VOD on Twitch at all because you get nothing for those extra views. So if someone wants to watch your GAC, they have to go to your YouTube. So you record it and dump it on your YouTube, but you do not have it available on your Twitch. That's the way I rolled.
I
That
will take
allowed
that
me
under
to
advisement.
that allowed me to use stuff like content that, you know, I technically am not supposed to use on Twitch, like music and stuff like that, because once it's archived, you can get dinged for it. But if it's not archived, you can't.
Yeah.
Like Twitch was very kind to send me an email once and just be like, just FYI, if
Just a
you
second.
nuke
Sorry,
your
my
archive.
toddler's fussing. I gotta see what she needs.
All right.
What is it, precious girl? Come see Dad. What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem, big girl?
Speaking of Yeti, I saw you. Where'd you go, bud?
What's wrong?
So how's everybody in chat doing today? You guys getting your coffee in? It's like it's afternoon for the East Coast. Where I'm at now, it's still mid morning. Really, it's 11:30, almost afternoon, almost noon.
Baby girl just wanted some goldfish crackers.
Yeah, well, don't we all?
Not a tough bill to fill. Oh, Fumulus to Popula, you're buried
under homework. Send help. It's like we'll have a stripper hit your door in a minute, buddy.
This is the Yeti way. I mean, if basically. You know, you know.
I was gonna say my last big stream was literally had a stripper on it.
as we will know, yes indeed. Well, let me just talk a little bit about these characters. So for all the criticism about that I have about, you know, having to shell out for 4 characters to get the big dog and all that, they did a fantastic job of all of these characters being useful at low star. We haven't really had that in a while. So Dash Rendar, I mean, once you have him at 7 stars, you have the incentive to really crank up his speed to force probably something like just Sith Trio. Sith Trio devours, assuming that you got a decent amount of gear. So I've got, you know, Relic 7 Nihilus, Scion, and then Relic 8 Treya. Just those 3, I can pretty much devour any Dash team. Relic 8, crank them up to however high you want, won't matter. They're just going to kill themselves on the 3 of them.
Yeah.
Absolution saying, cleaning the kitchen, gotta earn some wife goodwill while she's working today. That's what I'm doing right after stream. I got some cleaning to do here. My wife's coming home from work probably in the next hour or so.
You got that honey-do list, you know?
Yes, that's right. It's either honey-do or honey don't play freaking SWGOH. That's what's up.
Yeah, see, what I'm gonna do is after this is I've been rereading Wheel of Time. So I'm. Yeah, well, it's one of those. I read it first time around, and when they made that fucking dumpster fire of a show, I was so offended that I had to go and reread it and get that out of my head. I didn't watch the
show, but I hadn't heard too much about it. So terrible.
Don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's literally I literally have been thinking about doing a full series breakdown video for my YouTube just because I hate it so much. Like I don't think I've ever been more motivated to trash something than this. Like I literally made accounts on like IMDb and stuff just so I could go trash it because it was so fucking offensively bad. Wow. Like it was one of those. I'm like, you have this source material and you're gonna shit all over it. Fuck no, not on my watch. I
heard that.
Yeah, it was so terrible. I literally. I had done like a couple of streams since retiring. In one stream, I think I ranted about 2 hours on it. I was talking about it with Avi on Discord, just like on stream, just if someone new would come in and be like, "What are we talking about?" I'm like, "The Wheel of Time series," and they're like, "Oh, I like the books, but I haven't watched it." I'm like, "Don't!" And then I just start going into it, like.
I hear that.
Don't give them views. Don't give them views.
That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that because of course you want it to do well, but I guess that's the way she goes.
Well, it was funny because
let me take you back on the trip here with these guys. So like Dash Rendar, not at 7 stars, you can have him cranked. Everything I had already said. Not at 7 stars. You can clock him to like just have some offense on him and make sure that he's slower than your BAM. Chuck him on a BAM team, man. Guaranteed a shit ton of birds because he does 3 instances of damage on each target with his AoE, so 15 instances. He's like most of your birds right there. So
yeah, that's a pretty gnarly build.
It is. Yeah,
and
don't get me wrong. He's like 259 here. Not a bunch of damage because he's only a 6 star. But I get some legwork out of the guy. Darth Talon, even here at 3 stars, she does the job, man. She's the
one that gives all the speed at the beginning,
She gives the plus
correct?
20 speed. Yeah. She gives the plus 30% max health, 30% offense. Like, she's so good. And when she falls below 100% health, which in the case of a 3-star, if she's fallen below 100% health, she's
She's
probably
dead.
just gonna
Yeah.
die. But
Yeah, she's dead.
but even my last stream for round 1 here the other day, I was up against somebody with a relic 8 Talon. And I think that when I get her to 7 stars, I'm putting her in a ton of health because her thing is like she has like savior essentially for a Sith leader. If you
Yeah.
take them down to 1 health, she here we'll read it off. The first time the leader would be defeated while Darth Talon is active, they dispel all debuffs on themselves, recover 100% health, gain 100% turn meter. Then Darth Talon gains 3 stacks of loyal hand, loses 50% health, and then gains stealth. And she can't be defeated by this damage, and she has like her Bane ability gets refreshed. So it's literally Dark Savior, right?
Yeah.
And what you try and do if you're going in with Imperial Troopers against that is after you've got like it's pretty much down to Darth Revan and Talon remaining, you're trying to use your AoEs off your character to just kill her off before you go after Darth Revan. Nobody wants to pop him off, right? So yeah. Hey, I see Defiant in the chat. Love you, wife. Come on back home soon. Let's see here. Yeah, Populi says you made Dash as fast as possible to open with an unresistible days against Grievous teams. Interesting. Yeah, I'm interested in what you guys think about different uses of Dash because I like the idea of just having another, quote unquote A team that we can put on defense. Oh, my little one brings me the box of goldfish. She wants more, but this box is empty, sweetheart. Let Daddy go downstairs to get you. Have you seen wee Tassinix? Look at this one. Look at how sweet. This is Daddy's big girl. Is she not precious?
She's doing the I need goldfish, Daddy.
That's right. That's right. It's time for some food. All right, let Daddy go get you that real quick, and I'll be right back. Y'all fight with Yeti nice in the chat while I go get some food for her. I'll be right back. Gonna take the opportunity to top off the coffee too. Maybe you want to do the same, boss.
That's not a bad idea. Let me go grab a cup of coffee. I'll be back in just a minute, guys. Let me get that brewing.
Trip over the light, sweetheart. Okay, there you go. All right, be right back, guys. Appreciate your patience.
All right, coffee is a brewing. Wife's laid out on the couch with the Rona. Oh, rough, northern border. I actually just got over the COVID as well, my man. I was down in Phoenix for my brother's wedding, and there it's like 100% full open, like no mask, no nothing, no anything. And during I got it at the wedding, so it was one of those ones where I just felt like I had a 2-day hangover when I flew back to Canada, and then like the night that I got back to Canada, I was like started getting real sick, and then I was really sick for about 3 days, and then I kind of just got over it, which was surprising. I was like, man, this is no sweat. Like I didn't have any lingering effects really. I've been a little bit phlegmy for like a week or something like that, but for the most part, it's been not too bad. Not too bad. Taking a week off work on new nurse duty, yeah, that's fair. So I don't know how it's hitting your wife, Northern, but for me, it was just the fevers were bad. I had bad fevers for like 3 days, and then after that, I was fine. Like basically, like 2 or 3 hours, had a raw throat and zero energy. Oh yeah, that's fair. The first day, like the first full day of it. So like I said, I flew back in the afternoon, and then I landed about 5, and then by about 9 o'clock I was laid out. Like it just lots of fevers, and then the first full day I think I slept like 16 hours. Like I was just like sleeping super long in bed, and then I'd like move to the sofa and sleep, on the sofa for hours at a time, kind of thing. But yeah, last 2 days napping on and off. Yeah, that does not it doesn't last a ton. Like for me anyway, it didn't last a ton. I had it for like I was napping a lot the first 2 days, and then after that it was pretty much gone. It was just the fevers, the nonstop fevers. That was just brutal. So I was like super bundled up. Just constantly had tea going. Just just kept hitting it. He kept getting that hot water in and stuff, making sure get lots of fluids and all that business. Speaking of fluids, let me go grab my coffee. It should be ready. Be back in just a second. We are back with coffee, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, hopefully she gets over it quick. Seems the variant's not as hard as taking a bunch of friends who. Yeah, yeah. So I heard the OG is really, really fucking tough. Um, it's our show now. No king. It's like the king is dead. Long live the king. The old school SWGOH Yeti coffee mug, ladies and gentlemen. Getting a run out. The old school.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah. That's what I've heard. Abso is like the old like the OG variant and like the second variant were both rough. But I managed to like avoid them. I didn't get COVID for like the first 2 years. I got the Omicron or whatever bullshit. Um, which is interesting.
Oh
But
my.
yeah, this new variant's not too bad at all, really. Um,
We talking Omicron here?
yeah. So Northern Border's wife has the Rona, and
Oh no, man. Sorry to hear that, man.
I literally just had it. Like I got it at my brother's wedding,
Jeez. Well, I'm
and
glad
it
to
was
see
one of
you're
those
doing
like
well.
I thought I had a 2 day hangover basically. So like when I flew back to Canada, I was just like, man, I'm still like zonked out from all the drinking on the wedding weekend kind of thing. And then like a couple of hours after I landed, I started getting fevers and shit, and I was like, uh-oh. Like I was like, I'm pretty sure this is not a hangover.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Yeah, sorry I had to dip for a minute there, guys. I found that I was out of goldfish crackers, which was the nature of the request, so we made up the second, the runner-up is buttered toast.
Oh, fair.
So anyway, what I was saying here with Talon before I had to take off there was she's a stat bag, right? So that's how I think I'm going to treat her at 7 stars. Is I'm just going to make her thick so that you can't do that AOE horse shit. Um, that's kind of what I'm thinking there. Next, though, on deck is Kyle Katarn. Katarn is he is powerful even at low stars because of his thing with this blue milk run. He gets
Yeah.
10% turn meter at start of battle for each rebel fighter ally. So in the quote unquote standard team, 30%. So it's
Yeah.
easy enough at like 280-ish speed to have him effective like 400 for turn one, right?
Yeah. Like Kyle could. You feel like since Arizona's. Hey, Abso, you're in Arizona, dude. That's where I've got a place in Phoenix. That's where my brother and my mom live. Um,
Nice.
yeah, but yeah. So Kyle Katarn, he was the one that like I wouldn't say he almost drew me back kind of thing, but because I love my Mothma team, when I saw Katarn, I was like, damn,
And I,
like
and I owe the credit to Dagger for this one, but you wouldn't think that Katarn or no, taking Mon Mothma against a Treya team sounds like a bad bit of business, right?
yeah,
Even with this 4-star Katarn, I was able to use this team to beat a Treya team on defense. And, I mean, the banners were terrible. Everybody was red health, but no one died. So if you were in a
yeah,
pinch, wow, what a thing that is to use this against Treya, a mass assist team against Treya. Not bad.
yeah.
So he's just
Yeah, man.
incredibly powerful. And when he comes around to this second use of Power of the Valley, so you're seeing this character a lot at Relegate for damage, right? When he
Yeah.
gets his second use of this ability, almost anything just gets popped. It's just
Yeah.
gone. Just crazy good character. Sorry, you were gonna say something.
And I'm just saying, like I loved my Mothma team, and
Mm,
you know, even at you know, when my account was smaller and I was in like the smaller divisions and stuff like that, man, I had an absolutely torqued Mothma team, and it used to get crazy holds.
I
Just
believe
like
it.
no one. It's sort of like the Spanish Inquisition. No one just expects it. Like you see a Mothma team, you're like, eh, and then you know you go at it with whatever. Like I had like fucking Jedi Revan lose to my Mothma and stuff like
That's dumb.
that.
That's awesome, dude.
Just because I had so much speed on, like I kept Hoth Rebel Scout at 100% crit chance, and I had him at one point my Hoth Rebel Scout was at like good God 330 or something.
Wow, that's fast. I was gonna say
Yeah,
310 is a fine mark to go for, but I mean, the more the merrier, I suppose.
yeah. It was
Wow.
one of those where I had enough speed mods because I was obsessive about my mods. Which the new owner of my account absolutely adores, by the way.
Well,
So I had so much
Aldous in the
speed
chat
mods.
saying he's missed you, Yeti.
Hey, Aldous, how are you doing, my man? Welcome, welcome. Nice to see you, buddy. Cheers to you. Got coffee, not whiskey, but you know.
Yeah, not Irish coffee, not today.
Yeah. It's like I still have to do a workout, otherwise I might pour a little whiskey in the coffee for you, but
Hmm.
but yeah, so then I shifted it once I got my Kara to Relic or whatever, and she became the focus. Then I shifted it to Kara. Kara was at like 345, 350.
Wow,
Um
now that's
and
that's what's up. Really
and
fast Kara is in vogue these
yeah.
days.
Yeah, so it was one of those where like I even had like trooper teams lose, which was amazing because they just
I
didn't check
can't
the
wait to
speed.
tell you more about this other
Yeah.
stuff that they've been doing here because it's kind of shaken up how people are laying out their front lines. Let me just briefly comment about Mara Jade. I mean, in TW, putting the Omicron on her means that there is no Mon Mothma Katarn team that you can't dumpster with like EP, Mara Jade. Don't need Darth Vader. You can throw in almost any other three shitter Empire characters. AoEs are preferred. Debuffing characters are preferred.
So
But
you got use for your Tarkin and your God
Krennic,
Krennic.
Krennic,
Yeah, I was gonna say
yes,
Krennic.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. Thinking correct, yes, sir. Yeah,
yeah.
incredibly
Get that
powerful in
daze in there and
territory
stuff.
war. Somewhat mediocre on in GAC unless you're having Darth Vader in the mix. But I like setting Darth Vader with Lord Vader a lot of the days, just because if I see my opponent is using JMK or JML against Lord Vader a lot, I want Darth Vader down to
Yeah,
possibly punish that.
those. I was gonna say those ability blocks in Darth Vader under Lord Vader are just gnarly.
Yeah,
So if you're gonna get your opponent to use Jedi against your Lord Vader, then putting Darth Vader in there is just dirty. Um,
agreed, much agreed.
uh,
And you know what the punish is these days for the slacker is throwing Thrawn in the mix because if you're not paying attention and you go in there with your slacker Watt Daka zombie, you only got one tank. She's gonna get fractured, and then when she
yeah.
inevitably gets killed, she comes back without advantage, so you don't have the freebie taunt, and things can kind of head south on you.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. Any Dangerous Dave updates? You know, I haven't heard Aldous. I haven't heard any new Danger Dave stories since he moved back to Canada. Like he's in Ontario now. I think he's working in oil and gas or something like that. Like selling gas rights or some shit like that. But you know, I think I think his family basically dragged him into like rehab and shit because he was such a legendary drinker. Just for an update, Danger Dave, I'll tell a really quick Danger Dave story just so you have some
Please,
context.
please
So
give
there's
the
this
people
guy
what they
that
want.
there's a guy that I used to drink with sometimes in Taiwan, not because I liked him, just because the foreigners just kind of just hang out. And so he was just always kind of around, you know, if there was alcohol, which is everywhere. So like just a quick instance of Danger Dave. So like one time I walked up to a 7-Eleven that we used to drink at, and Danger Dave was sitting on one of the plastic chairs at the table outside the 7-Eleven where people would like to, you know, facilitate themselves with alcohol. And it's on a very busy road called Wanshin Road. Very big, like 5 lanes each side kind of thing, 4 lanes each side. Lots of traffic and stuff. And so he was pissed as a fart when I got there, like absolutely fucking destroyed. So he'd been drinking all day, and he was yelling at one of the other guys that had been drinking for a long period of time as I walked up. He literally stood up, pissed himself, grabbed his chair, threw it into traffic, fell over, and then started yelling at everybody, calling them the N word. And then I just turned and left. I was like, no, no, cops are coming. I'm out of here.
Yeah, that does
Yeah.
sound dangerous. More to himself than others, but yes,
Yeah.
dangerous indeed. Jeez.
Yeah, so that was just a taste of the danger, Dave.
Jeez. Well, that sounds like a legendary night out sort of thing that you wouldn't want to make a habit of.
Well, no, that was just like a Tuesday for Dave.
Oh yeah, no, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Yeah. Now you're all right, Aldous. I mean for you guys to ask whatever questions you want of our special guests, especially since Yeti doesn't pop up every other day anymore. So take advantage of the opportunity. Pick his brain.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those. I've been thinking about doing like a chatting stream or something. Try to keep the community going, that stuff. Because that one was always good, just having some drinks and chatting and stuff. Especially if GAC is going to be down, that might be not a bad call.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe I could reinstall Civ 5 at some point. We could do just a bullshitting in Civ stream, something like that.
Yeah, that could be pretty fun.
I could be a guest for your thing.
Yeah, Civ is always a good play. Like now that we've been talking about it, I'm like, I'm gonna have to do a duel today. It's gonna have to happen. Like I've just been thinking about it. I'm like, all right, Kingdom of Jerusalem. Who am I gonna fuck up?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of the very latest characters, second most recent, Iden Versio. So what do you know about this lady?
I'll say straight up, she is my favorite character in Battlefront. Like I loved playing as Iden Versio. That was my girl. Like my best ever runs were always with Iden Versio. She was just my jam.
Aldous, how do I know Yeti? Just fan of his stream, organically. Just started watching his stream.
Yeah, Tass came in when I think Fulbright was on. I think on one of my streams. That's when
You've had me guest before. Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, like the first time I saw you, I think was when I had one of the times I had Fulbright on stream. We were doing like a chat and stream. And then I think I pulled you into voice chat the first or second time you were on stream, I think.
Yeah, I think we talked to like 3, 4 in the morning.
That sounds about right. Yeah. As long as the whiskey's flowing, we can just keep going.
What's quick aside before I go back into what Iden's about here. What's the drink of choice these days? Anything new? Anything fancy?
I've been really into. I've talked about it on stream, but there's a whiskey that I highly recommend for everybody who likes a really well balanced and fragrant whiskey. It's called Amrut's. It's an Indian whiskey. It's 100% Indian, meaning like all the ingredients are grown and sourced from India near the distillery. And it was one of those ones. They've been making it for a long time. It was for the colonists, because they weren't shipping enough whiskey on the boats. It's too expensive to ship it from Britain over to India for them. So they've got a long history of making it. And if you can get it at your local whiskey liquor store, it's really reasonably priced. So up in Canada, it's about $60 a bottle, which is
it's this one here I got on screen.
That is it. That is it. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Aldous,
single malt.
It's absolutely excellent. I genuinely highly recommend it. And like I said, it's very reasonably priced. So you're getting it for about $40 or $50 US.
It's incredibly light in color. Is it like?
Yeah.
I mean, what does it say? Made from selected Indian barley. It's tough to read that. Let's see. What does this say here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
say
have
a bunch of variants of it. That's cool. Yeah, barley nurtured by waters flowing from the Great Himalayas. Interesting. Very interesting.
I can tell you this right now. This is my current favorite daily drinker. So this is something that I talked my liquor store into starting to carry, and I always have it. I always have it in my little crystal decanter. It's my jam.
Dig it.
Other than that, weirdly, the Wayne Gretzky has his name on a whiskey. I don't know if it's in the States, but it's definitely up here. And it's finished in, I believe, Burgundy barrels.
Wayne Gretzky.
Bordeaux barrels or something.
Open another prompt.
And it's cheap and fucking delicious. Like it is absolutely worth the price. It's only about $30 in Canada, which means it's probably about $20 in the States if you can find it. But it is a hell of a drink for the price. So those are two that are.
It's got a bunch of different variants of it too. Which one's the one that you stand by?
It's Burgundy or Bordeaux barrels, I believe, for the finish, which
Okay.
are really nice.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah. All right, I'll have to check some of these out. Yeah, whiskey I enjoy a lot in the summer and fall. Usually in the cold
Yeah.
months, my drink of choice is a dirty, dry gin martini. Like it salty, like it dry. Very, very nice. Let's see. John Karcher, first time in the chat. Good to see you. He says, I am Asterix. Um, I don't know who Asterix is. Maybe I should.
Do you do I missed it when you were saying, do you do gin or vodka martini?
Oh, it's gin.
Gin? Yeah.
I
What kind of
guess
gin? Do you do heavy on the juniper or more of a lighter gin?
always the juniper. I think that's the classic flavor profile, and I mean otherwise it just tastes too close to vodka for me. I
Yeah.
like the floral notes to it. Plus, I mean some people probably wouldn't care for this, but I like the contrast of that floral nose to the the salty upfront taste because I like those cheese stuffed olives in my
Yeah,
martini.
the blue cheese stuffed
Mm,
olives.
mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm, mm.
There's a place Abso, there's a place in Phoenix that does can we change Task Talk to Liquor Talk?
100
Hey,
biddies
why
from
not? Yeah.
Abso.
It's
We can
not a
talk
bad
liquor.
call.
That's fine.
Yeah, so the Abso there is
Biddies.
a place in Phoenix that does really there's two places that do fantastic martinis. One of them does the blue cheese stuffed olives and you get like a full thing. You get basically two martinis for the price of one. That's City Hall Steakhouse, and then the other place where you can get a really good martini is Durant's. Durant's, you get a really nice like botanist gin, like on the money, like yeah. So I really like those. So with the blue cheese stuffed olives, I usually do the vodka and let it get dirty with the olives, and then
I can dig
without
that.
the blue cheese stuffed olives, I do the gin, where I get the proper flavor from that.
Let me wipe
You know.
off your greasy little fingers, child. Greasy little fingers.
I was gonna say, Tass, what gin do you use for your martinis?
So, I'll tell you the real secret here is when I had a Costco membership, there's their own Kirkland London dry gin is absolutely fantastic. The price point's wonderful, the volume is incredible, and the flavor is pretty much indistinguishable from Tanqueray. So I really enjoy that. My Costco membership has since lapsed due to the pandemic, but yeah. Okay, all right. I'm being summoned once more by the child for something. I'll be right back, guys.
I was
Ay,
gonna.
ay, ay.
I'll just tell you. I'll tell you instead of type it out because I started typing it out. So yeah, go to City Hall Steakhouse. Get the. They have like like sit at the bar. It's hilarious people watching at the bar as well because there's a bunch of like hookers that hang out there looking for like older gentlemen looking for a good time. So you can get play a little game of guess the hooker, which is always interesting. So you get the martini there. It's like basically two martinis because you get a shaker with another pour of martini, which is amazing. And you get they'll give you this basket of bread if you get like a starter or something. So you can get this like shrimp dish that comes with this really amazing broth, and you can just soak up the broth in the shrimp dish with your pretzel bread, which is 100% amazing.
What did I
And
walk into?
yeah, I'm just telling you about City Hall Steakhouse. It's like I'll sit at the bar because the bar is like amazing people watching because there's like on a Friday night there's a bunch of hookers at the bar trying to find older gentlemen
Uh-huh.
who want a good time. And so you get to play you get to play guess the hooker, which is always entertaining. Like, oh, she's by herself? Is she a hooker? Or is she just here for a drink, meeting girlfriends? Just made it to the dinner reservation early, and you just get to like, have that little mental thing where you get to work through like, is she gonna be playing with peepees later? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
so anyway,
let me comment again real quickly here. I'm going to put it up on screen because you were asking about that gin. But yeah, I just found this article basically saying that its closest analog is Bombay Sapphire.
yeah,
Um,
so Costco actually gets I think Bombay to make their gin.
that's what this
Yeah.
article that I just pulled up is alleging. Yeah,
So,
but
so I what I know in Taiwan specifically is the Kirkland whiskey was Macallan 12,
oh
which
my
was
god,
awesome.
I love
Um,
Macallan 12.
Yeah, so I used to buy the Kirkland whiskey when I was in Taiwan, and I know for a fact the Kirkland vodka in Taiwan was Grey Goose.
Yes.
So that was like, so that
Oh
was
yeah.
money.
Costco
I
Costco offers great value, and that's a 1.75 liter bottle for $18, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's like half the price. So the way that I found out how these worked when I lived in England, because Tesco had such buying power that what they would do is they would go to, say, someone like, in England it's called Lucozade, but I guess, you think of it as like Gatorade. So they would have like a Tesco brand Gatorade essentially that was made by Lucozade, and it was cheaper and the exact same product. So it'd be like 30 cents cheaper per bottle or something like that. So I understood buying power and how that worked. And so when I moved to Taiwan after England, when I went to the Kirkland place, a buddy of mine had a sandwich shop, and he was stocking the Kirkland stuff as well because it was good and cheap. And so we started basically doing blind taste tests against the other bottles in his bar, trying to figure out, like which bottles are for sale at Costco, because it's always going to be a brand they sell
Yeah.
is who makes it. And then so we pulled aside all the bottles, and then we just did like blind taste tests and lined it up, like, and three or four people would be like, it's that one, like that kind of thing. And you, oh, Macallan, perfect, like so that's how we tested it. It was an excuse just to get drunk, but it was also very educational. So
Mm.
we knew what we were buying when we got the Kirkland stuff. So it's like in Taiwan, I used to always have in my house, I'd have a Kirkland Scotch, that was the Macallan, and I'd have a bottle of Hakushu, which is Santori's mid-range whiskey, which is, in my opinion, better than the Hibiki. It's
Mm.
it's so good, so well balanced,
Never even
really
heard of the
fantastic.
Hibiki, but
Hibiki is the one you can find pretty easily in North America. So they have their low range one, which is Toki, which
mm.
is good. It's a little bit rough, but
Mm-hmm.
absolutely worth the
Mm-hmm.
money for it. And
What
then
is
their
it?
high
Just a two
range.
year? What is it?
Um, it's like it's a blended whiskey, so
Yeah.
it's fairly balanced. It's just it's a little bit
Indistinct
harsh.
flavor. Yeah.
But what I mean by a little harsh, I don't mean like you're like, oh my God, I can't drink this. It's not like that. It's just it's for Suntory. It's a rough drink
Yeah.
because they really, the Japanese whiskey, like you look at something like Nika, I think it is Nika.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
Nika does like a heavy peated back end, and so all of their variants are like that. You know, when you look at Suntory is really renowned for being balanced. And so like, Hibiki is balanced, a little alcohol forward. It's like it's a little bit higher proofed kind of thing. Like it's very good. But for me, they're mid-range, the Hakushu, which is extremely difficult to find in North America. You can find it sometimes at Total Wine will have it.
Mm-hmm.
And it in the US is about $30 for the bottle. In Taiwan, I was getting it for about $20 a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And it drinks like $100 whiskey. It is amazing. Super well balanced, but enough alcohol forward that it's there. And it was my jam. So I had always had that, and I always had the Kirkland's Macallan, um, and that's something I just always kind of kept there. But then again, in Taiwan, they have amazing wine availability, and because
Mm.
people don't buy a lot of it, it was very cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically in Taiwan, it's like it would only be taxed if it is in direct competition with a Taiwanese product. So you'd get
Gotcha.
stuff like you would go to, something like Carrefour, and they would have, special booze or what. Like one of them specifically spent all their discretionary allotment of stocking funds on wine. So it was like an incredible wine selection. Like I remember getting stuff like, Chateau Margaux,
Mm-hmm.
a new bottle, needed to be sat on for a couple of years, but they would have it in the store for like $30, and you're just like, this is insane. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't even buy this in North America. Like this is, it'd be hundreds of dollars at a fucking restaurant, and it would still need to be decanted for like an hour.
Mm.
Like
Mm-hmm. I've it's been a while since I've had Japanese whiskey, but I mean, just in general, Japanese liquors are just known for their smoothness, right? Like I very
well,
much like that.
well, no, no. It depends on the distillery. So Japan is culturally, when they do something, they pick a way to do it, and then they do that the best way possible
Yeah.
that they can develop. So, like I was saying with Nika is always heavily peated on the back end.
Mm.
For me, that doesn't. I wouldn't call that smooth. It's a very heavily peated whiskey, right? So that's like they're going to be like the varying Nika ones, like there will be some variants that aren't that way, but in general, like you can look at say Nika and go, okay, I know there's going to be some peat on the back end. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how much. We'll figure it out. Like I was saying with Suntory, is every product they do, even they used to have one that's not even available in North America. It was just like their lowest range below Toki that was just available at a 7-Eleven.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get like a little nip of Suntory whiskey at a 7-Eleven, and even that was like a well balanced thing, and you're getting a little bottle for like $4,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just pleasant to drink straight, and it's like a $4 whiskey should not be pleasant to drink straight. Like
Yeah.
that should be stripping paint. Like
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
like that kind of thing. So it's I always found and I'd visited some of these distilleries like Kavalan in Taiwan and Ilan. I went to the
Ooh.
distillery there and tried everything, and so I did get a taste of the Soloist before it got all that worldwide acclaim a couple of years ago, which was
Mm-hmm.
really really nice because we had a handle of it that we got at the distillery. And then, like a month or two later, it blew up. It was like the best whiskey ever made.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah.
going nuts. And then suddenly, like that bottle was worth a shit ton.
I hear you. Hmm.
Yeah. So
We
anyway,
we
I
can talk
encourage you.
about alcohol all day here, man. I like I said, I like my martini, but I'm thinking about picking up a couple other things. My flavor profile for like wintertime drinks, I don't care for too sweet in general, but
Yeah.
especially I really like to be just bone dry here during the cold months because sugar, I don't know, something about sugary drinks in the sugary alcoholic drinks just takes me into a summertime mood, and I just don't want that in the
Yeah.
wintertime.
Yeah. So
Hey
for the
Kaizen, I see
winter,
you in chat. What's up, man?
it's like winter, I'm usually on Scotch and whiskey. That's kind of my jam. And then summertime, I'm usually more into bourbon and
Yeah,
rum in the
yeah.
summer. I feel like that's right.
Have you
Um,
tried? Man, I mean, my jam is an old fashioned when I'm having whiskey most of the time, unless I'm having it straight. Just over a
yeah.
nice ice sphere or something like that, or just straight. I'm gonna have it as an old fashioned, and I think again towards that idea that I don't really care for overly sweet. When I'm having a bourbon, I'll just have it neat, But
Yeah.
when I'm
Yeah.
having that old fashioned, when you're putting in your simple syrup and your twist of orange and all of that, and getting a little sugar here and there, man, I'm doing that with a rye whiskey, and
I was gonna say, like for old fashions for me, it's got to be rye.
it's
It's got
gotta
to be
be,
rye.
man, and the flavor's
Um,
so clear when you do that. It's not muddled by all that sugar. Check out if you hadn't tried it, Rittenhouse Rye, very
I have had it.
inexpensive.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
you
really
know it.
good.
You know it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
man, it makes a fine drink. I definitely prefer it as a mix as opposed to drinking it straight. But it's not that it's disgusting or anything straight.
no, it's
It's
just
just when
with a
you're having
stronger
like a
flavor.
yeah when you're
If
gonna have like
you
something
want
like
that
a
stronger
straight, you're gonna
flavor
have
in a
it like single
mix.
barrel,
Yeah,
right? Like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They boys water down their drinks. Danny, I'll tell you what. A whiskey over the big. I love the big ice. So
Oh,
it does water it down a little bit, but I can pour like 5 fingers of whiskey in a big ice cube and then just
that's
sip on
dig
it
it.
for hours. Like
That's
that's just
dig
my
it.
jam. Um, so
Mm-mm.
like what I've been doing lately, with Netflix, because in Canada we still have all the Star Treks on Netflix. So I've been
Mm,
literally watching every episode of Star Trek lately, and I'll
good
pour a
choice.
massive whiskey, and I will just sit there and watch like 4 episodes of Star Trek back to back to back, just chilling on the sofa at the end of the night. And funny part, I've never drank alcohol in my life. Well, there you go.
Yeah, but that's because I know Danny from my Discord. The guy's busy being 20 years old right now, so
Yeah.
it's not a big shocker there that you haven't developed your alcohol palate yet, there, friend.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of those. It's like I didn't even like whiskey until I was about 30. And it was, there was a whiskey that broke the dam for me that really got me to look at it, because I remember drinking some crap when I was young. Like, and don't get me wrong, I did shots of like JMO and stuff, and I do like Jameson. I will drink it over ice, that kind of thing. But like, it's a little bit on the harsher side.
Yeah.
But what I mean is, like, I remember being given like Ardbeg or something when I was like
Ardbeg, yeah,
22 or
yeah.
something, and I was just like, oh God, like,
That is
why do
not
people drink this?
that is
Yeah, that
not
that's
for the
not
faint of heart.
yeah, that's not the kind of whiskey to cut your teeth on, so to speak.
No,
And
that's one of the peatier scotches.
oh yeah, yeah, like for sure, like that and like Johnny Walker and stuff. It's just if you like that specifically, then you basically either got used to it or you just like a really heavy like whiskey, right? Like,
Yeah.
in terms of that flavor spectrum. But for me, I like what the whiskey that got me into it, the scotch that got me to kind of really pay attention to it is was Glengoyne, which is a really light scotch. Really light, really delicious, really well balanced, but it's like alcohol forward, so you can feel the booze going in. You've got that fire on
Get
the
that
front.
chest burn going.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? That was the one that really got me looking at it. And it was funny because I was in a whiskey bar, a little whiskey snug called Shabine in Vancouver, and the guy who worked behind the bar was like, "What can I get you?" And I was just like, "What do you have that's not Scotch whiskey?" And he goes like, "Oh, you're not a fan?" And I'm like, "Yeah, not really." And he goes, "Okay, I can find a Scotch for you if you just let me like, we're gonna do a couple of little tastes, and if you don't like any of them, you know." Then I'll give up and we'll get you something else. I'm like, okay, cool. So he poured me three very different scotches, and he was like, these are three different flavors that are gonna hit different ranges. One's really smoky, one's really peaty, and one is just light and alcohol forward. It's pretty floral. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. So the peaty one, I didn't even finish the taste. I was like, oh God, no. No, that's what I know of Scotch, and that's not what I like. And he
It's
goes,
just
okay,
like you
cool.
said, the first time I tasted
Yeah,
scotch, I was like, who
yeah,
drinks this
exactly.
shit?
And then he's like, all right, cleanse palate. Tried the second one, the smoky one. I was like, not terrible,
Yeah.
but not totally my jam. And he's like, okay, we're moving in the right direction. And then the third one was literally Glengoyne 10, and I had my little sampler, and I was like, okay, that's actually good. Like I would drink that. And he goes, okay, do you just want that, or do you want something like that? And so the first one I just did that, because I was like, I know I like that one. We'll just have that. Second one, I was like, okay, give me something around this, and that's when it's like it started opening up. And then I went there a couple of times over the next month, and I tried like, God, 20 or 30 different scotches on his reco, and they were all good. Slight in that similar like floral, alcohol forward kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always been in on that. And like I said, I was about 30-ish at the time,
Yeah.
and that's what opened it up. And then I was just like, okay, cool. I know what I like. I know what I'm looking for, and it was just a whole new ball game because I suddenly preferred, because before I was very much a gin and vodka guy, and then after that I was really into Scotch whiskey, rye, bourbon, that kind of thing, because
And
I found what I like.
Scotch is, the authentic thing is product of Scotland for, pretty much exclusively. But I'll say that the one great privilege of being American is, guys, our bourbon is coveted worldwide. I mean, we have a
Yeah.
truly unique product. If you love bourbon, this is the country for you. You can go to any liquor store, get outstanding product, really cheap. Yes, Syodin 975 saying Macallan 14 years, excellent. I've had 12 and I've had 18. I've never had the 14, but I can't imagine it's a bad time. My very first scotch I ever had was a Macallan 12, and I was in love from the moment I tasted
Yeah.
it. Like, that is just about as sweet as I'd like to have a scotch, because I go in for that peatiness. I like the savory nature of Scotch for the most part. But man, Macallan is a tough one to beat. Guys, we'll
Well,
jaw jack about alcohol here throughout. Let me just get in. Let me take us back to SWGOH for a minute, because I want to move past a couple of these other characters. Who's calling me? That's my mom. I'll give her a call back later.
yeah.
All right. So the thing with Iden Versio, in the same vein here of being able to use low star characters, which just hasn't been a thing for a while, she also fits the bill. You stick her Zeta on her. Let's see here, rank 7. So everybody gets the 35% crit chance, 35% offense, 35 speed, blah 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 blah, stacking. Yeah. All right. So here's the thing that's really interesting about her is. if you meet this condition here with not having any other leader Imperial Troopers or droid Imperial Troopers in your team, she gets 100% turn meter at the start of the battle, so she can kind of kick off. I've done a little testing here in GAC, and there isn't really a consistent behavior that she has with whether she starts with her AoE that puts down vulnerable, or if she puts up the buffs. Yeah, I haven't been able to suss out a consistent pattern of behavior. But the thing that's really neat about her is she cannot be finally killed until all of her other troopers are dead. The one exception, of course, being you can pop her with like a Nihilus, annihilate. And that's what I did here last round. It was convenient. But I've been able to set this team down on defense and have it draw something. It's kind of nice. And this is a team where you're thinking you got all these attacks out of turn and you can punish that with Traya. Bro. If you do not throw in Xeris in there to mitigate the damage that comes out, just straight annihilation. You get blown out. Last round, I even had her in with Xeris. They knocked out... This is a Relic 7 Xeris. And I already told you about my trio. So Relic 7 Xeris just lights out. And then they took out Scion, and I was able to finish the fight because Traya and Nihilus were bulky enough and man, terrible banners, but we barely survived, and that's supposed to be with, like, the prescribed, like, this is your go-to counter is Triumvirate plus Xeris. Man, shit did not work. This team is real serious business, and the team that you put it down with now these days, you're using Snowtrooper, Magma, Death Trooper, and your choice of tank between Shore or Storm. I think it's kind of interchangeable. Probably Storm is strictly better, but
Yeah.
And yeah, people are talking about her only Belora in the chat. Her Omicron is ridiculous. Let's take a look at that real quick. While in Grand Arenas, at the start of battle, if no other allies have the leader tag, Imperial Trooper allies also gain 35% max health and protection, and whenever an enemy attacks out of turn, Imperial Trooper allies recover 20% health and protection and gain 10% turn meter. CLS does not need to apply. If you're trying to go after an Omicron item, you will just have a terrible time. Otherwise, you could CLS this team, but that's awesome, right? If I set this up front and my opponent wasn't really expecting it, they don't have their Triumvirate perhaps up to snuff. If I have to draw CLS on like with undergeared Iden Versio team, because the rest of her troopers are Relic 5+, so she's the only undergeared character. If I force something like that, man, what a punish! I'll just stick gas in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Syed in here saying he watched Xerath's Traya get destroyed. Right, and his isn't even like top Relic, and I'm here to tell you guys, my Traya is Relic 8, Scion and Nihilus are both Relic 7. Almost the same result. It is incredible the kind of damage this puts out. CLS, Belor says CLS Han with Watt, delete Iden with Han with weapons tech. But they took off the do not revive off of the weapons tech some time ago, Belor. I don't think it works that way anymore.
Did they? I thought
so.
You still no. I think the do not revive still there. They took off all of the they took off the ignores armor bit.
Let's
double check that because I'm pretty sure it's still no revive.
Enemies
can't be
revived.
revived.
Character can't be revived. All right, you got me there. You got me there, Belor. That's a fair point. Yeah, all right. And I'm sure you know about the Slacker Watt Daka Zombie thing. They're saying that they're looking at nerfing that, or they're looking at changing that, but they said that 3-4 weeks ago now, and nothing forthcoming. So certainly no hurry. But if we can force you to draw your Watt away from that, and you have fewer options, I saw Xerath attempt. I saw Xerath. Yes, Kylo, we got Yeti in the house. That's right. If you attempt to do Slacker against Lord Vader without Watt, you can use Slacker Watt First Order and be fine. I've done that plenty. If you try it without Watt, it's a real dicey affair. I watched Xerath do it the other night, and he wiped out. And I mean, if somebody's going to be able to make that work and make it work reliably, you would think it would be Xerath.
Yeah, generally. Yeah. It's kind of unfortunate that they did weapon tech so dirty.
Yeah.
I think there should be some armor penetration added to it. I've felt it since the change, where you can't just take ignore armor, remove it, and then not give armor penetration back. There should be a decent amount of armor penetration. Yeah, and I feel like Watt was done dirty, because then he just becomes someone who makes a pre-taunt that is persistent.
Yeah, he's
And
not what he once was. You're not wrong.
yeah, yeah. Like before, you would do a battle with Watt for the weapons tech, and now it's like I might put weapons tech on somebody, I guess.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
That's pretty much it. You're not
yeah.
wrong about that. Balor's saying that he's been using gas just because Iden sucks. It's true. I mean, nobody revives in the presence of gas. But hey, if I can draw your gas on like an Iden team, outstanding, right? We'll
Yeah, who
find
doesn't like a little penetration?
yeah, no, she's an amazing character. So I guess that's the end on her. I just like that all these characters are high utility, right? And
Yeah.
then who's the latest and greatest here is Second Sister. Did you play what the hell was that game? The game with Cal Kestis. Did you play that game?
Oh, Fallen Order.
Fallen
You
Order.
know
That's
what?
right.
I
Yeah.
didn't actually play it. I did a play along with DB, so I felt like I played it. Like I was there when he did a playthrough, and I just kind of just showed up every time.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a great game, dude. Great
yeah,
game. I
it's
know it's on sale. They gave a content patch to it here. I haven't actually played that when that came out, but like amazing game, so much fun. My only regret about it is that it ends the journey ends quicker than I'd like. I mean, it was still felt like a full game.
yeah.
No complaints there. There's some replayability to it, but it was so good. And my only regret was that it had to end at some time.
Well, that's the thing. Like I will eventually play it. I know it the way that the game is built, with the skill-based offensive system,
Hmm.
that really bothers me. Like I never finished Horizon Zero Dawn, which has a fantastic story, just
Hmm.
because the combat system is just so annoying. Like I just
I
like it's
enjoyed the
either
combat, but like
well with Horizon Zero Dawn, for me it's like the combat, you either get the one hit kill, which gets kind of boring, like you call them over and you blast them. But then against like those big battles, even on like a low difficulty, like you can easily die. Like it's one of those where it's like it can get really annoying if you've got to do like a skill battle and you keep dying essentially. Um, like there, and I liked the game and I wanted to finish the game, but I also didn't want to do the boss battles.
yeah.
Like I just was like, fuck this, man. And so that's my fear with Jedi Fallen Order, is that it's going to be like that. The boss battles looked super annoying,
They're
especially the
very
last
hard.
one.
They're very hard, and
Um,
there's encounters like there's off the beaten track areas to go find like hidden items and stuff that are guarded by these monsters. That when you encounter them early, because you have to, I mean, you encounter them early on in your journey. You don't have the
yeah,
skills required, and you try to do this with the skills required. I put in an hour trying. I think it's like the first or second stage. You climb along this pipe and you wander off back into this corner where there's an item hiding in the corner, but there's this big beast, and you try to roll up in there and just quickly get at the item. He's like, "Nah, son, I'm gonna paste you against the wall, and that's gonna be it."
yeah, yeah,
I loved that it was so hard because you could try and outskill it and finesse it, but you had to pick up the skills and circle back later. I like games like that where it's like, okay, you can go where you want, you can try what you like, but until you've got the skills, you can just keep mashing your face into the grinder. That's fine.
yeah. And it's funny because everything is moving towards the skill-based systems in combats in games, and I don't know if I like it. Like I'm worried about the new KOTOR. Like I'm worried, they said it was going to be something like a skill-based combat,
I
and I'm
hear my
like,
daughter playing with something. I'll be right back.
you're
Keep talking.
like,
I'll be
she's
right
playing
back.
with something wrong. Yeah, but yeah, it's like I play games to relax, right? So skill-based combat, it's tense and things, and it doesn't like fulfill what I want from it. Like I want the turn-based system in KOTOR, like update it a little bit, but give us the ability to pause and give orders and directions and stuff like that. I think that's kind of necessary. And I'd rather it be more button mashy with a pausing system than it would be like, okay, I have to do this combo to get this battle to work or whatever. Um, it's one of those like I want to relax when I'm playing, and that's like I said, that's why I haven't played Fallen Order, because I'm really worried that I won't like the combat system and that will ruin the game for me. Whereas I think it's a great story, and watching a playthrough was good, and I would like to do it, but I'm genuinely worried that like when it comes down, I'm just gonna be like, oh, I don't want to do this boss battle because, I have to like do, these steps. I have to do like a step-by-step thing. And yeah, the joystick skilled based stuff. Yeah, Sidon. That's what we were talking about earlier, man. I've got like 2,000 hours playing Civ 5 or something, over to 2,500. Let me double check on my Steam. Like I've played Civ 5 so very much. It's ridiculous.
All right,
Um,
I am just a Jedi at changing diapers, man. Let me tell you something.
so
No,
yeah,
but
I was saying basically, I'm worried about KOTOR because they said it was going to be a skill based thing
yeah,
where I want turn based. I want that. Like I want to see. Yeah, I've got 1,800 hours on Civ 5 sided. Civ 6, I
I
hated Civ
like Civ
6.
6, man. I
I
like
have
some of the
like
changes.
30. I have like 30 hours on Civ 6. Like I played Civ 6 for tried to get into it and I just went back to Civ 5.
I
But I
have the
did it.
same difficulty, dude. Once you can wrap
Yeah.
your head around the playstyle difference with the districts and their placement and everything, it really feels much the same. And in some ways, I feel like it's improved on Civ 5, but I don't want to turn us back into another Civ conversation. I
Yeah,
see
yeah.
Master Kylo in the chat talking about how Ubisoft is working on, I guess, a new Star Wars MMO. I'm here for it, guys. I've been wanting something.
Um, I don't
What's
think
up?
it's an MMO. I believe that it's a Star Wars RPG. Um, I believe.
Not an MMO.
Uh,
Here, let me
yeah.
pull up. Let's.
I don't think it is. Because I remember Ubisoft getting the contract, and I was like, and it was supposed to be, I think, for an open world RPG, sort of like Skyrim or something.
All right, let's see here. News, Ubisoft news. All right, Ubisoft and Lucasfilm Games announced a new story-driven Star Wars game, so that doesn't lend it to sounding like an MMO. Let me just
Yeah.
parse the article real quick. Blah 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 blah.
It's like my worry is I didn't like Assassin's Creed, so I have a bad feeling it's going to be a Star Wars skinned Assassin's Creed. Like
Yep.
it just wasn't. Yeah, Assassin's Creed just wasn't my jam. Um, but I played it on console, and I don't like playing on console. Like, cause I played it at my brother's house because I didn't buy it. I love playing on PC, man. PC Master Race. That's true gaming right there.
This is the way. This is the way.
Yeah. This is yeah, exactly. We are Death Watch. This is the way.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it is going to be an open world game. It looks like it appears to be a single player.
Yeah.
Um, Latest technology. They're using their own proprietary engine called the Snowdrop engine. Ba, ba, ba. Yeah, they're pretty light on details here for now. So
Yeah.
that's just the
Yeah.
way of it.
It's like I know a girl that works for Ubisoft in Montreal, so maybe I'll see if she's working on it.
Hey, get
Try to
that
get some
inside track.
yeah, yeah.
So this character though, like, so now we're going back to this character has an amazing kit, second sister. But she's the type where you really need her at 7 stars to have her do the thing. So it is what it is. If nothing else, you could use her as a dark side unaligned force user, a Disufu, to set up your Star Killer condition. Uh, you know, I mean, she's kind of a throwaway if you don't have her at 7 stars, so maybe you don't want to do that. But it's an option. But if you have her maxed out, her kit is just bonkers, man. She hits like a truck, especially against Jedi. Very punishing. And
It's
sorry,
like
go ahead.
I'm glad that they brought Second Sister in because I've been one of those people where ever since I started playing the game,
Hmm.
I was like, where the fuck are the Inquisitors?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like
Yep.
you've got Phoenix Squadron, so where the fuck are the Inquisitors?
Yep.
Like, and it used to drive me nuts that they wouldn't release them, and I was like, you've got literally five. You can make a team out of them,
They're a legitimate
Like,
faction to come. They gave us the
yeah,
tag. They told us more will be coming, so you'll get it. And you know what the
yeah.
next conquest unit is here is her ship, the TIE Interceptor. And I don't know
Oh, I
how
didn't
much you know
realize it was
about it.
her ship. Yeah, I didn't look it up at all, actually.
It's okay.
It was shared in my Discord, but I didn't click on the link. I was just like, okay.
So so this is going to breathe life into one of your Empire fleets. The suggested image that came out with it is putting it with Chimera. I can see that, But you know how it is. Whatever that suggested image is, you're not thinking
Yeah,
about the other
you never.
option.
Yeah,
And
could be anything.
man, stacking all of the offense and stuff that she has with Tarkin ship lead, man. Ooh, this could be a
I,
brutal offense fleet. But
I was gonna say like I like Tarkin so much better than Chimera. It's such a better ship.
it is, it
It
is,
and not only that, the AI plays it perfectly. Like there
it
isn't.
does. Yes.
It's really crazy. Like I would always when I set Empire on defense, I would always set Tarkin
Hmm.
as the ship just because he like the AI can't fuck it up. Like it
Yeah.
just plays it right. And it was it was pretty interesting because people be like, "Oh, why didn't you set Chimera there?" And then they like lose to it. Like,
Yeah.
well, that's why. Like,
Absolutely. But
because
and I
I'm
think I think the one of the reasons they recommend it with Chimera is, of course, we have to admit that feeding turn meter to the capital ship disproportionately would benefit Chimera over Tarkin, right? Tarkin, just by
yeah.
virtue of existing, is giving a ton of offense out when you have debuffed enemies. And that's pretty much it, right? Like the offense penetration up ability that gives turn meter as well, very welcome, super powerful, but it's also on like a 3 round cooldown, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I see
Well,
you in the chat, Master Kylo. Executor and Negotiator on D. This is the toughest possible defense you could be setting down right now. If you guys aren't getting into the practice of using, those two ships on defense, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're giving the maximum amount of opportunity for your opponent to, shit the bed.
well,
This is the
see,
way.
that's almost always what I said on defense. It took me, if I was worried about them setting both of those on defense as well, sometimes I'd be like, fuck it, I'm pretty sure I can get through,
Hmm.
like, and I would do the same thing.
Hey, not
Um,
sure. Good to see you in the chat, man. How you doing?
how you doing? Not sure. How you doing, man? And so also it's one of those where like sometimes I wouldn't set it when I was like, okay, I'm just gonna blow this guy out of the water, so I'm not gonna be that much of a dick. Like,
Yeah, Kylo, there is a counter with the Negotiator Finalizer, and yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, the finalizer versus negotiator is a very good counter
Yep.
unless Clone Sarge is coming off the bench. If Clone Sarge comes off the bench, you lose. Period. There's a
Yes.
0% chance to win.
It's yeah, that's a rough affair. Very fair point. I haven't encountered that because most people, myself included, are reserving their clone sergeant for use with finalizer. It's usually
Hmm.
like my first reinforcement. Whether or not I'm losing on the board, I like it there because if all goes well with the plan with finalizer, you're forcing unending loyalty first out of negotiator, and then you really want a tank on deck for when mobilize rolls out, and then
Yeah. So what I use with finalizer is actually Sunfac.
see, now
So
he is my main tank for my Holdo fleet. I don't know if you've done this recently, but Sunfac, the Resistance X-wings up front, Ray off the bench. You've got Lando, and then I throw in Wedge Antilles because where the hell else do you care about him?
yeah, yeah,
But
fair.
like that fleet, I shit you not. When I go up against an executor, and sometimes circumstances transpire such that I kill none of the ships and completely fully wipe out.
Yeah,
I have won the cleanup, the 2 shot, with that Holdo fleet going into the AoE from Executor. The cooldown was available, and it is so strong. That fleet is so strong that you can do it. The only way it can really go tits up on you is if on that mass assist they do manage to kill one of your X-wings. So putting
yeah,
some gear into your Resistance X-wings, Relic 7 Poe X-wing, I cannot speak highly enough of. That ship, you do the middle. A lot of people do the third first to buff up, but
yeah,
if you have a Relic 7, fully 6-dotted Poe, and you do that middle onto JKA's ship, red health guaranteed, done. Just
yeah,
the hit is just monstrous off of that, man.
yeah, yeah.
Not sure asking in the chat, would you use Houndstooth in that fleet for a tank? For
Houndstooth
Holdo?
should be with your executor. But
Exactly.
if you don't have executor, then yes, I would use Houndstooth with my Holdo.
Took the
Holdo
words
with
right out of my
Houndstooth
mouth.
is absolutely just fierce. Just because of all the healing and foresight and all the craziness, and Houndstooth can take such a beating anyway. It's like, oh, and we're also going to heal Houndstooth because why not? Like every other turn, because
Yep.
why not? And then
So,
everybody's going to have foresight too, so good luck. And then
and
you're not killing
Saiyajin in the
stuff with
chat's got it
AoEs.
right. Resistance Pilot is also highly underrated. That's an excellent
Yeah.
ship. I took mine up to Relic 5. I think you only had to have it up to Relic 3. I haven't seen much need to take it up to 7 because with my Poe at 7, he's doing, he's doing God's work. He's doing the heavy lifting for the damage. But yes, having that ship durable enough to possibly take a punch and be able to keep cycling specials, mwah, beautiful.
So Resistance Pilot, in my opinion, is the ship that really makes Holdo like cook because of the assists, right? So like if you've got say a non-resistance ship with them, and you've got your Poe at Relic 7 like you do, all of a sudden you're calling that Poe to assist all the time, and that's pretty gnarly. Like,
I don't think Resistance. Maybe we're thinking of a different ship. Resistance X-wing, I don't believe has any assist call ability
it does, unless I'm totally forgetting
because
or
basic is just a
misinterpreting.
basic. The second is a
Yeah,
big
but it
hit.
has a unique that calls assist resistance ships, I believe.
Well, I'm open to the possibility that I am a dumb
Yeah,
shit. Let me
I
check
could
that
I,
out.
I could be wrong because I haven't played in a couple of months, but
No,
that's how I remember it.
that would be extra
So
embarrassing if this for me because you haven't
if
played in a
you,
couple months.
it's
Let's
like look at
see.
the is it not
It's
that one?
not
No,
that
it's not
one.
that one. It's
It's not that one. It's got to
there's
be this one.
something.
No, I don't think so.
No, look
There
at
is a clever
look
skill.
at the reinforcement then, because I remember him calling assist.
There it is. That's why
There,
I don't
yeah.
think of it because I don't bring it in as a reinforcement.
Yeah, I always used it as my first reinforcement so I could get those assists because the assists are crazy.
That is pretty. That is compelling. But my first reinforcement off the deck is always Ray's Millennium Falcon because I like those extra three. Because by the time you
Yeah,
use the middle and do the sweep, that's usually lethal. That's usually
yeah,
lethal to something. So very fair point, though. Very fair point.
yeah. Because I usually had Ray's Falcon in the starting lineup and Resistance as my first reinforcement for the count for those things because you're getting like Ray's Falcon hits like fucking crazy hard,
With or
and so
without
you've
the extra
got
three stacks of thrust reversal.
yeah like.
Okay.
And then if you've got your Poe alive and you've got your Ray alive, and then you bring in Resistance X-Wing, now all of a sudden you've got all these, 80% chance to assist or whatever because it's doubled for Resistance ships. And it's
Yeah,
like it gets pretty gnarly.
that's
So
smart. That's
when
smart.
so my Holdo fleet was used specifically as when my rebels fucked up against a negotiator, I would kill it with Holdo, and that's if I didn't kill a single ship. I could go in with the Holdo fleet and just rock and roll with I'd use because once again it's like my Sunfac wasn't being used with my executor counter, so I would have Sunfac because my Houndstooth is in use. Houndstooth will obviously be better, but so I'd run Sunfac with Falcon and Poe, and then I'd bring Resistance Pilot off the bench, and then I'd also have Jedi Consular off the bench just as an extra heal, and my Lando's Falcon was like my third, and then I didn't use a fourth ship, and so I would take that in and go knock out turn meter loaded negotiators, and
I believe
I
it.
mean it, yeah, because
No, I
that
think
was
that's
like
really clever. I might want to try that sometime. I'll have to think about where do you think it makes the difference? Because the thing about like when you're
against
doing the
negotiator, 100% against
against
negotiator,
negotiator makes a
like
big difference. I would
yeah,
agree with that.
yeah.
Not probably not against executor, right? Because you're not really depending on doing damage to any of the ships really before you pop off the ultimate, and then you're just pounding them to death.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't think it's a. I mean, I think it would help against Executor, help speed it up, but I don't think it's going to be the make or break. But against Negotiator, it is a make or break, like flat out,
Mm.
because you need those assists to get through all the heals and bullshit to try to get Anakin down ASAP. Because their Plo's still coming off the bench, like probably first in this instance, because you've probably gone through their clone sarge or whatever with your rebels if you're lucky, something like that. Yeah, and it's like I never use Finalizer against Negotiator just because when people started getting the relic on Clone Sarge, it just started showing up in
Yeah.
everybody's fleet. So I was like, well, I just can't ever plan to use Finalizer there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so Finalizer was always my like I fucked up against a Executor, so now I use my Finalizer to take it out. And then my Holdo was specifically for Negotiator when my rebels failed. And then, so I had a path to victory on fleets against the hardest fleet defense, and it's just like I just worked on that,
Yeah.
specifically in territory wars when I'd see someone fucked up on a negotiator or an executor. That's when I would come in with my secondary fleet and try to get skill up on that, basically.
I dig it. I dig it. I mean, that makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense. And not sure in the chat saying I'm still horrible at ships. It's just my worst aspect of the game. A lot of people struggle with ships, and honestly, sir, Executor, even in the most skilled of hands, is still kind of a crapshoot with how the RNG rolls out.
Yeah.
The same fight where I make the same choices the same way, I can one shot it for like 60 something banners, or the same set of decisions
Or you kill
results in
nothing.
a complete loss. You get
Yeah.
nothing killed. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Executor's a shit show, but Negotiator you can definitely plan around if you know what you're up to.
I see you, Mary J. So, so with me, I always one of the things I always wanted to be is I wanted to be better at fleets than my opponent, because that's where I was winning almost all of my GACs, was the fact that I can kill anything they put down, and I have a path to kill anything they put down, and I can place my two hardest fleets on defense, and that was my whole strategy, and it worked really well because I rarely lost.
Yeah.
So I developed fleets early. I mean, I had every ship at 7 star at like what 5.5 million or something like that, and every ship that was useful, at least one pilot was in relic. Like, it was one of those where I made sure. Oh yeah, Mary J, that fucking R9
J,
GK is, in my opinion, General Kenobi should be your third Relic 9. It's Negotiator with Relic 9 is just nuts.
State for the good people who you think 1 and 2 should be.
Obviously JML should be your first. Hands down, if you don't have a Relic 9 JML and you have JML and you have the ability to Relic 9, then you're just doing yourself disservice. That character gets so much from his Relic 9, it's absolutely bonkers. But I think Relic 9 on Lord Vader is worth it as well. That's one I would probably do second. I might do GK second, honestly, because for me, fleets are life. Like, that is, I've always been fleets first, always, the entire time I've played this game, and I see so much value in that Relic 9 General Kenobi that, for the Negotiator, that I'm like, that might be my second.
Relic 9 Pat Blue? I don't think so, friend.
Yeah, Pat Blue is probably my fourth, but
yeah, I think that Lord Vader is a second R9 makes is a very high value. He's the second highest individual to get it.
Yeah.
But I think for me it would probably be Piet, because you have people that are doing the Relic 9 GK as you suggest, and you can beat a Relic 8 Executor handily with a Relic 9 GK lead, and who wants to leave themselves vulnerable to that?
But Tassinix, that what that means is that they're taking their Negotiator on offense, and you've got a huge fleet advantage. So I don't care. I really don't care. Like, I wouldn't do Piet at all, really, because Executor people either have the counter or they don't. And if they're not skilled with the Malevolence counter and they're going to go after it with a Relic 9 Kenobi, great. Then I don't have to kill your Kenobi fleet. That's brilliant. Like, I'm good with that. Like, I would.
That though is I like the punish. It's like, okay, you think you've got my little red wagon, what with your Relic 9 GK, but guess what, Mac? You can't do it against this Executor. So good luck on the second shot.
Well, but here's the thing. They're going to scout your roster, and if you've got your Relic 9 Piet and they know they can't use their Negotiator, they're just going to set their Negotiator. And now you have to deal with your Relic 9 GK on defense. So no, I'd rather them take that on offense and use it that way, because I'm cool with it. Like, that's only going to help me. Okay, you one-shot my Executor. Cool. Yeah. I'm going to one-shot your Executor too, probably. So...
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually relying on us both having to two-shot each other's Executor. And when I see people holding their Negotiators against me, knowing that I have the Relic 9 Piet, they want the Negotiator to counter mine, because the most common variant that you're setting these days is with Imperial TIE Bomber, 5s, and JKA up front. Why? Because... honestly, your odds of succeeding...
It fucks the rebels really hard.
Terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, you can't. You're not beating that with rebels.
Yeah, Arnold's got a video out there where you're starting off with Millennium Falcon and both of your U-Wings up front, and if all should go well, you can force unending loyalty, then quickly get back at Anakin and knock him out. And again, if the stars should align for you, you can still do rebels that way. But otherwise, when people aren't really sure about how they want to do it, or they're not practiced with the finalizer counter against that comp, they're taking their Executor anyhow. So I do take your point that if they want to use their negotiator to clean up executor, and then they have to do whatever against your other fleet, presumably your negotiator, I can see
I'm
why that makes
assuming,
sense.
yeah. So yeah, they've still got to kill the negotiator, and if they've used their GK against my executor, then I'll tell you this right now: malevolence doesn't beat negotiator anymore. So good luck there. That's going to be a two shot if you're lucky.
Well, why do you
Like
say that? Because I haven't attempted that matchup in some time, so I'll take it on faith. But I mean, I'm
I'll
curious
tell
why
you
you say
this.
that.
I'll tell you absolutely 100%. Once they nerf the malevolence to not have all the assists come, uh,
Mm,
killing Anakin is not going to happen.
burdensome, yeah.
Like it's sort of like it's not even as like how Rebels you're just like if I get the assists I'll win.
Hmm.
Malevolence it's like I'm not going to have enough ships out to get the assists to win anymore because I'm missing the assists on several hits, which are the hits that bring Anakin into range of dying. So you rarely kill Anakin before Plo comes out now when you're using Malevolent straight up against Negotiator.
Yeah.
And it's like I would say it's like 40%, a
Yeah.
one shot. Like it's really bad. Um,
Mm.
so that was something where like I tried it a couple of times in GAC because like the guy took his executor on offense to try to beat my executor with his executor, and he left his negotiator on defense. So I'm like, well, I have my malevolence, so I'll just malevolence this. And when the assists were there, no, Sayadin, they nerfed the malevolence a while ago.
Yeah, that's
When
past tense.
when yeah, so it happens when they release the right before they release the executor, where the assists on the vulture droids are no longer like compulsory. So you now have a like 60% chance or 70% chance to assist. But the problem is that you need to hit Anakin with your vulture droids several times to get him dead before Plo comes out. Um, and so basically what happens is that even if you get, the some of the assists, you get your 70% assist, even if it comes out at a rate of 70%, you're not killing Anakin before Plo comes out. You just don't have enough damage. And that's with like you can go Relic 8 on your Malevolent still, and it's not going to do it. Um, Define compulsory. It's basically when it has to assist, right? So in back in the day, every time your vulture attacked, all other vultures had to assist. It was 100% assist. And that's why it beat Negotiator so well, is because you would get enough hits of multiple Vulture droids on the Anakin that you can kill it before Plo comes out.
Hmm.
So now, the way it works is if you get it at the clip of 70%, even if you get lucky, you get 80%, right? You're still not going to be able to kill a Relic 8 Anakin, a JKA ship, before Plo comes out. You just don't have enough damage. And
Hmm.
then it's really crazy because most people just take it for granted that the Malevolence is going to beat the Negotiator because it used to
Yeah.
so consistently. But now it's not consistent whatsoever. And if you've got a Relic 9 GK, good fucking luck. Like that's a 30% fight right there.
Yeah.
And
The
so
set mobilize hits animalistically hard.
yeah. So it's one of those where basically going back to what we were talking about, the Relic 9 Piet, that's one of the reasons why I think Relic 9 Piet's actually a bad spend, because you want them to take their negotiator on offense and use their negotiator on your executor, because then they have to kill your negotiator without a Relic 9 GK or whatever, right? So if and here's the best part: if they use the malevolence on the executor and they one shot it, and then they take their Relic 9 GK on your Relic 9 GK, that is basically that's a 60% fight. So
Hmm.
once again, you're putting them in a really bad position. So I mean, like, I'm talking myself into it, but I think Relic 9 GK should absolutely be at least your third, maybe your second Relic 9. And it's just because, man, it's such a strong fucking fleet to throw on defense to have to deal with that and an executor. Like, you're talking yourself into a 2 or 3 shot on either of those, right? Like,
Interesting.
yeah.
So people are saying, do you hear me loud and clear, Yeti?
Yeah, I hear you just fine.
Okay, because Dagger. I mean, I guess I sound significantly softer than you. I'll have to keep that in mind for, next interview here. I don't want to mess with it too much right now, though. But thanks for the tip, Dagger. I'll look into that. Appreciate the tip. Yeah.
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 So yeah,
Pilotless
I mean,
ships.
obviously Dagger's the ship guy, so you know, maybe maybe we should
uh,
get his opinion on that Relic 9 GK.
yeah. Yeah. Dagger's the ship guy, is he? What do you have
Yeah,
to say
yeah.
about that, Dagger?
He's the real the ship general, so to speak.
Yeah, but to Mary J's point, pilotless ships do get outpaced by their relic counterparts. It's true. I
Yeah,
wonder if they're going
yeah.
to think about that long term because, yeah,
If they can fit it into their if they can fit it into their spaghetti code, I think it must it should be basically scaling off of the cap ship's like admiral. I think that's how they fix this problem. So if you have like a Relic 9 Piat in this case, then your pilotless, TIE bomber or whatever would be a Relic 9 ship. I think that's the only way. Yeah, pilot ships are scaled to like R5 to R7. I think it's R5, honestly, based on their health and protection and stuff. I
yeah,
genuinely think it's Relic 5,
yeah.
which isn't going to cut it. Like it's like the only way to really fix this is to either every time there's a relic up bump, they up it like 2 relic levels or something, right? And then
Yeah,
so they
or
take
they
it from
could
like
set it
5 to 7 and then 7 to 9 eventually,
they could
like
set
that
it
kind of
up
thing.
where it rewards you for more investment into your fleet. Like set
Yeah.
pilotless ship relic level equal to highest level relic starship on your fleet because
Or
it
your
would be
yeah.
yeah.
Like or like if it's God, I was gonna say like maybe scale it off your lowest relic
Well, yeah,
level.
that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would force more investment
Everybody
into
to
your
try to
fleet.
do Relic 5 plus.
No, I could dig that. Dagger brings a good point. They just need to add hardware. They actually need to add ship mods, and that would be an opportunity to upgrade that. I'd be into that too.
Or check this out. What if only pilotless ships got ship mods?
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for that.
Like
I'm
that
down
would
for
be
that.
pretty dope. That would be pretty solid.
Yeah,
Um,
I would be into that. That's a good one.
yeah, like because it's really tough to add ship mods to ships with pilots because then now you're adding another weird variance into what needs to be brought up and stuff. But what if they were like only for the pilotless ships to give them a little boost?
Yeah,
Because that
I'd be
would
cool with
that
that.
would be really that would be a really good way to fix it, and it would give something else that players can tinker with. And it wouldn't change the way fleets work currently, really, because the pilotless ships you've got like one per fleet basically.
Hmm.
Especially if they fucking finally add the ones they're supposed to, like a pilotless tank for Finalizer and a pilotless tank for Holdo.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
yeah, but I think that would be a smart move. And it would allow like the Rebel Y Wing to have a little bit more place where maybe it's a better starter than Biggs,
Hmm.
and stuff like that. Like CG really wants people to pay attention to ships, but they rarely give you a reason to do so. And I think that could be a way to make it a little bit more attractive.
I
Like
like
you
that
can
idea a
change
lot.
the loadout of how those piloted ships work. Like maybe you have it so like the mods specifically, you can have one that like nerfs their health and protection, but like triples their damage or something, so it turns them from say a tank into an actual attacker. Something like that would be really cool because you'd be able to customize your fleet in a really unique way that could really affect the way that the fleet you're using can work. I think that would be really cool.
I completely agree. I think that I mean anything that they can do to make ships more interesting, more engaging to people, and also keep their previously released pilotless ships up to scale as we keep
Yeah,
moving on up the gear chain. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Dagger
yeah,
in the
yeah.
chat here saying, I honestly think that no ships are worth R9 at the moment, but I do think that R9 Piet does shut out the negotiator counter, so it's worth exploring, and I think R9 negotiator is dead because Mal is still consistent if you move Vulture to the bench in favor of Soldier. So yeah, the AoE blind is still a good point. That's fair. So,
it,
to
it, it
Yeti's
helps and
previous
it
point,
puts
you can't
it puts
run
the
standard
droids out. Yeah. So with that, you would I think the soldier would work better if Plo is the first ship to come out when facing a negotiator, because then after they bring out their Plo, you bring out your vulture, and then you've reapplied vulture droids to everybody, and you could work it.
Dylar in the chat.
Well, Dylar, it's because I was on the Raz last night, so it happens.
How you doing, Dylar? Good to see you, man. We got to get into some TFT. I know you've been at it. Let's get into a game here sometime. I'm seducing more and more SWGOH players into the TFT life. He's playing it though. Appreciate appreciate you highlighting that message there. That's good. That's good. That's real good. Guys, I scheduled this chat to be about 2 hours. Yeti, if you got a few more minutes, I won't sweat the 5 minutes here that we have pre-allotted. But
Yeah.
I wanted to cover a couple of things here,
Oh, my
GAC-wise,
bad.
before we part ways. First of all, I wanted to make mention about your, the Qui-Gon Jinn team. I know a lot of people are fretting about the quote-unquote nerf. Unpopular take. If you guys disagree, I can understand that. But I really think that the so-called nerf is really just meeting what the original intent was of the character. Like I never read this character as something that you were meant to use to trivialize a galactic legend, and I'm cool with it. Oh, what just happened? What happened?
You got a new follow.
We got a follower from Sayadin and a Prime subscription. Thank you so much, man. Very
Yo.
much appreciated. There it is. It popped up finally. Qui-Gon still nukes changed my mind. Well, here's the thing, Mary J. That's what I'm about to tell you guys. So here's what I'm thinking, right? I cranked up my JKA to 306. Honestly, this guy needs to be about 8 to 10 speed faster, and then we've really got something nasty to deal with, because at the high end of GAC right now, you're seeing people take their Bad Batch Echo to 370 or thereabouts, right? So the idea here is that if you're using Qui-Gon Jinn lead, that's plus 30 speed to the team. You're putting Cam in there and keeping it all Galactic Republic. That's another 30 speed. Thank you for the biddy, Slug Mug. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Hype train is close, guys. We're on the cusp once more. Are we going to do it? It's all up to you. Yes, Master Kylo, exactly. 366 is if I have Cam there. So that's the thing, though, is I just fought a round. MG71 from Maw was my first round opponent for the week, and damn if he didn't have a 370 Echo. So I can't do what I'm trying there, putting it on defense. I kept him for offense. He was very effective. But anyway, I just had this pointed out to me by a friend the other day. God, I feel bad. I can't remember who. But, running Ahsoka Tano with this, you forget about all the benefits that come out of her unique when you set her next to JKA under a Galactic Republic lead. She gets plus 50 speed. She has the crit immunity, but she's called to assist whenever another Galactic Republic ally uses an ability, and then you forget about her big hit. So remember, she's going to have that offense at 30 times offense at the start. Thank you for the biddies.
Hey, we got a hype train,
Absolution, man. You're always there for us. Thank you so much. Kylo, and we just started the hype train, guys. Let's keep it moving. Appreciate you. Dagger, thank you for throwing your Bezo bucks at Tassinix. This is good. I appreciate it. Dagger also says Cam is a bit more free with JKR and JKL going to JML for the JMK cat. That's fair. You can't take Ahsoka away from JMK. Do not agree. Ayla Sakura fits there just fine. I've had holds with that. I've had great results with it. I usually have been running Ahsoka with JMK. I'm cool with the results with that too, but she's not wed to the JMK team. Try your Ayla Sakura. Get your Ayla up to 90% critical chance so that she gets the extra 10% from her unique, and she's got right around 100, and then get her up to 100% potency, and she's basically a stun bot. She's a good deal.
And her assists are always fun.
Yes, that too. But anyway, this attack here from Ahsoka hits animalistically hard when you've got Anakin on deck and a Galactic Republic lead. So anyway, what I'm thinking here is when I'm setting this team on defense, it's going to be like Qui-Gon Jinn, JKA, Cam, and then probably Ahsoka. But if I, for some reason, let's take Mary J's point and say we don't set Ahsoka. That's what I brought up this young lad for, Kit Fisto. People don't be knowing. He's a terribly slow character, so you have to put a set with a decent bit of added speed to him. But I mean, this is like a 1.2 offense multiplier. I think this skill does. has a bonus on the offense. And what people don't remember is this unique plus 20% offense at the start of battle. Guys, this is slick, right? So he's 8809, right? Let's bust out the calculator real quick. 8809 times 1.2. Oh, that was the divide symbol. Wrong one. 09 times 1.2.
See what happens when you don't
come
get your
on,
goldfish?
Man. 8809 times 1.2. Can I use a calculator? 10,570 damage at start of battle. That's serious, right? People aren't going to relic their Fisto. Guys, it's very much a luxury choice. But I'm saying you get a real big hit out of Ahsoka. Otherwise, you're kind of maybe wanting a different Galactic Republic Jedi in there to hit hard, and he might be your man. If you're of the mind to do it, if you have the luxury to do it, something to think about.
Somewhere right now, for no reason, Jedi Adastra is smiling.
She loves my choice
Smiling.
here. We've talked about it. She enjoys Kid Fisto here. Yeah, I know I'm out of touch on this one, Dagger. I am not saying this is going to be a common choice. I am freely admitting that, guys. It's a nice to have, not a need to have. It's a flexibility, okay? All right? Stop busting my balls. So the fifth that you're putting down on defense, I would prefer to be GK, right? Now on offense, run it Underman. And run it with, Qui-Gon, JKA. You can use Cam, but guess what? If you wanted to use Cam with your JML or something else, drop him and throw in Kit Fisto. Because the idea would be is that you would clock it such that JKA goes first, Ahsoka goes second, and then Kit goes third. And that is pop, pop, pop. Right? You might even just do the basic.
Big hit, AoE, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you might even just do the basic with JKA at first and let the others do their pops and then wait for Qui-Gon to die and then finish with the big hosing. But, like, I'm really interested in what you guys thinking of how you're using your Qui-Gon these days. Maybe you've got something cool worked out. What's the highest team that you've been taking him up against? I'm thinking about doing it against dash teams and stuff like that, because I can't be using my triumvirate there when I need that for Iden Versio, you know? I might make a video about that, Kylo. That's a pretty fair suggestion. I'll think about it. But yeah, it's not supposed to be flexing that I have the Kit Fisto. I specifically took him up just for this purpose. He was sitting at like Gear 7 before this, so don't worry about it. They nuke anything below gas. Yeah, but you know what? What about this? I saw somebody set Nest down with their dash team the other day. Would you still run the risk on that? You know? I don't know. Thank you guys so much, man, for the hype train roll. We got 44%. We're through to level 2. Appreciate the support. Oh, hey, my wife just got home. Good. Yeah, you won your games? Yeah, my wife coaches volleyball amongst her other jobs. And I guess they had a good day on the court, so good for her. All right, so enough about this Qui-Gon team right now. The other thing I wanted to cover is Dad Bod Boba. So Dad Bod Boba is a GL counter in Territory Wars. He is a very, very serious threat. But as far as making good use of him in GAC, he's not really been wowing too many people. I know I've already talked this one out with Dagger, but I'm interested in what you guys think of this team here. Let's just create a new squad for the sake of argument. So I just put the Omicron on Zam, and I know what you guys are saying. Saving Zam on offense for your bounty hunters to be a Star Killer counter is a smart call, because you can use CLS to counter Star Killer even if there's a Xeris there, but if they put GK down, don't even try it. Don't even try it. Bad times with CLS. Wouldn't recommend it to anybody. So assuming that I did not want to keep Zam for the bounty hunters against Starkiller, I've been used to using my bounty hunters without Zam thus far, right? So I'm not wed to using her here. But I was thinking about something like this. So you have your Django lead, you have your Boba Scion, you've got, where's my girl Fennec? Got Fennec, got Zam, and then, gosh, who else do we want? I think it would be Dengar. So this team, I mean, I feel like it is a real quick track to activating the payout. They're all bounty hunters. They'll all benefit. And I feel like you have to take something significant against this. I've been toying around it with my, in my head here, but like I said, I just put the Omicron on Zam. So I've not had any opportunity to mess with this, but I'm very, very interested to hear what you guys think about it. What got any thoughts there, Yeti?
So Dad Bob Boba was after I left, so I don't have his intimate knowledge of his kit.
All right. I mean, he just does stuff in GAC. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
He isn't all that special. I kind of have him in Boo Boo's set of offense, but like he does AOE's. He gains. He has a unique buff. Let's just say he's another character that does AOE's and has a decent bit of offense. Like in GAC, he isn't anything terribly special.
Well, I mean, anybody who's going to be doing some decent damage under a Django lead is going to be pretty useful. So,
That's
I
right.
mean, I don't see why not. Like, I don't see why that wouldn't work. I know Fennec Shan's going to be doing a fair amount of damage. Zamzomi, I don't remember what it does
Oh,
exactly, but I
okay.
know it's
Well,
very strong.
we'll
Um,
remind you here real quick.
yeah.
So, oh, wrong thing. Shapeshifter. All right. At start of battle, Zam gains 60% increases to her offense, max health, and max protection. She then gains 5% speed for each other bounty hunter allies, so 20%, and then other bounty hunter
Just
allies
get
gain
offense, yeah.
20% of her current offense, max health, max protection, and speed until the first time that she dies. So what you do is the real sweet spot for taking her speed up, I haven't gotten her quite there yet, is 334. Why 334? Because 334 times 1.2 is 400 on the nose, and then 20% of that value getting shared out is 80. 80 speed
Yeah.
getting shared out to the rest of
Plus the
your
Django lead.
plus the Django lead.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is why I'm thinking to set this sometimes on defense because I'm not sure exactly what you're going to use for it, but it isn't going to be bullshit. I'll tell you
No,
that.
you're probably going to overkill it just to be safe, and
Exactly.
that could take a very good useful counter out of it. So I mean, I do like anything where you can get tons of speed and they have to kind of go big on it. Um, is something that I liked to do a lot. Like that's why I would always torque my Mothma so much is because they would try to kill it with bullshit and it wouldn't work.
Hmm.
And then it'd be too fast for most people's troopers, and then it was like that they try to Treya it, but like there was in like the with the TM mechanics and everything, like it could kill Treya if your Treya wasn't like high relic, and it became one of those things where they're like, okay, well now I got to use something big
Yeah.
just to make sure this thing fucking dies.
Got a
And
couple
then
interesting. I'm sorry to cut you off there. Got it.
I was just gonna say, so I love having those super fast teams on defense just because once again it changes the thought process. Like that's the kind of team I
Yes.
would send front bottom and just
With
make
gas
them,
behind it, probably something like that,
yeah,
right?
something like that. Yeah, exactly. Like you're gonna pull something like your CLS out just because you just don't know what to do. Like, well, what do I do against this? I don't want to lose, but if they try to undervalue the team, then yeah, maybe they get ripped up before they take a turn because
It's
of all the
true.
speed, right? So.
It's true.
Um, so it's like I do like setting that just because it's going to force a difficult decision. So
Hmm.
even if the team doesn't work as well as you think it is, like in actuality, it's still a great team to set. Just looking at the makeup of it, just because, like I said, they can't just go in there with bullshit and take it out. And if they try something that might work, chances are they're going to lose,
The
or it's going
punish
to
would
be
be
really
enormous.
ugly. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, so I'm thinking almost only the best players would come at that with a team that's good value to take it out. Or, like anybody.
Let me catch up on a couple interesting comments here in the chat about CLS versus Star Killer with Xeris Dagger saying that CLS needs to be very strong versus Xeris. You've seen many a man drop the bounty hunters versus SK plus Xeris fight. Is that with Zam present? Because I thought that the Zam Omicron made the bounty hunters a sure thing against Star Killer. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong about that. Against this Django lead team, Mary J says he'd use like Maul Watt. Master Kylo says I'd use Mandos, but it does seem like a pretty fat team. Yeah, Mary J says maybe it is overkill, but Watt with Frenzy, Shred, Zam's Omicron. I can see why you'd say that. Dagger says he might set Django both Bobas, Fennec Zam, or like what I'm doing here, have Dengar in for OG Boba. Yeah, I think that's a fair idea too, because Boba is just generally a more powerful character than Dengar, and it is oftentimes that if I am going to use Aura Lead on offense, if the generally I'm using that against a BAM team, if the Queel is too fast, then I would be bringing Gideon in with that team and dropping OG Boba Fett anyway. So you could ostensibly plan for that. That makes sense.
Well, yeah.
Yes,
Also because of the way that the speed's going to run out with the AOE's and stuff coming, you've got the AOE ability blocks, and then on the second turn, Boba's going to rocket somebody, which is probably going to knock him out based on what's going on in the mechanics of the
and the
team.
AI will use the AoE first, so that does,
Yeah,
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 it's going to
yeah,
contribute to the
100%.
contract. You have a
So you're
couple
gonna
less
you're
instances of damage than Dengar's bombs, but
yeah.
overall a more powerful character. Yeah,
Well, yeah. So what I was gonna say is like if you've torqued Boba to be OG Boba to be pretty fast to go maybe second, then that would be pretty intense because Zam goes and puts the bombs out, and then you've got Boba dropping the AOE ability blocks. So if you've got speed and potency on Boba, that can get pretty gnarly. And then you've got Django putting the fire out. Then you've got Fennec Shan doing her work. I mean, it's not a bad play. And then when that second turn rolls around, OG Boba's going to rocket the lowest health character, I believe. And so, I mean, you're almost guaranteed to have Boba knock somebody out. It would take a really, really tanky team to not lose somebody by the time Boba goes second time around. So, I mean, I like it. Um, I
that's
like it with OG Boba in there a little bit better.
yeah. I think that's fair. I think yeah, I might give this a go here next go around, guys. I'm
I
looking
was gonna
forward to
say,
it.
and I still like Dengar a lot with Mando. So I mean,
Right, with
Bam.
Bam, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
he is a typical member
So
of that team. So very fair
yeah,
point.
so I think you get a little bit more usability out of it. And Boba's kind of like you said, he's somebody that you would drop for Gideon. So it's like you can just
As needed.
plan to use Gideon with that team, and then it doesn't take anything away from your offensive side. So I
Yeah,
mean, you're in a good position.
and if you're not running GG Nuke, then like if your Dengar's occupied with Bam and your Boba's occupied with this team, then throw in like your IG88 here. What you can't go wrong with an AOE ability block.
Yeah. Yeah, you got AoE ability block there. You've got target locks coming out and stuff you got some debuffs. I mean, I like it. I mean, that's
Very
something you can
interesting,
easily throw in
guys.
with BAM. I think that's still, pretty solid. But
Great,
I do
great
like,
discussion there. Yeah.
yeah, but I really like the ability blocks from OG Boba coming before they get a turn. I think that really will set whatever you're using against or they're using against, kind of back,
I
you
have to
know?
check out 289. That's pretty damn decently fast.
Yeah.
I might have to look at adding a little bit more speed on him, but you're looking for him to go to be the first turn taken, really?
That's what I mean, him or Django to get the debuffs out right away, so
Yeah,
you get working towards a contract. I mean, I kind of like having OG Boba really fast there, just because I want to make sure those ability blocks come out before they go. And chances are they're going to. I mean,
yeah.
unless they're using something super fast. But
And we
yeah, I
have the
mean,
extra potency from Django lead, so very
yeah,
nice, very
yeah,
nice.
yeah. So like you're gonna have a lot of ability to drop debuffs there and get working towards that contract. But either way,
I dig
if
that.
Django goes before OG Boba, it's fine because he's putting out the debuffs, and then you're gonna AOE and put out more debuffs and stuff, and so it's just gonna help,
Yeah,
get that contract moving as fast as possible.
yep.
Um, but yeah,
That's
I mean,
nice.
I like the team. I like the idea behind it. It's a real ball acher, and it's something that taking a mid range team against it's going to cost you. So
Yeah.
even if you win, it's going to be an ugly win.
By,
So
by the way, guys, I think GG with BB-8 is supposed to be another counter to Starkiller. Please let me know in the chat if there's limitations to which comps that isn't good against, maybe. But I might start saving GG for that so that I could have the discretion to set this Django team down with frequency. I don't want to rely on that Zam Omicron to make bounty hunters work against Starkiller if I don't have to. But another note that I wanted to touch on, I first saw this from Fatal's stream. I don't know who really came up with this, but when you're using your Maul team on offense, so check this out. You really only need to have Django with Maul Mandos if you're using it as like a counter against C, something like that. You really need the extra punch from him for that case. Otherwise, Django's kind of a free agent. You can do Newt Django, you can do Dooku Django, you can do this Django lead, scoundrel team that we just talked about. He can kind of be used elsewhere. I like using Maul Mandos against GG teams. I set up my Sabine at Relic 7 for this. I took her from 5 to 7 recently. I'll explain that in a minute. But what makes this work without using Watt is Droideka. You need to have Droideka very fast. So I clocked this team. I clocked him to such that if I'm going up against a gas team, I could outrun a 320 Rex. So why does this work? Deflector Shield Generator says that when he doesn't
Let's see
have
there.
damage immunity, he has plus 50% speed. So 258 times 1.5 is 387. Compared to 320 Rex times 1.2, that would be his gain, is 384. So I got him outrun by 3 speed, and man, you can just zoom right out on ahead. I just did this here last round against MG71, and I'll say this much: the added relics on Sabine make a difference. So the way that this has gone in the past is you do roll with Droidica. That sets off the first frenzy. Ooh, nice. Good choice. Good choice. My wife was bringing home lunch and she brought home Coney Island. I don't know if you know about Coney dogs and everything from the Metro Detroit area, but they good. They real good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So anyway, the way this works is you do the roll. Then Maul takes his turn, does the middle, gets up to 5 stacks. That sets off Canderous. Canderous feeds himself turn meter, ends up going next. You do his sweep, and that tees up your Maul to go, right? So again, against gas, you're doing push, push, push. It's usually the third push that gets him to sit down. Then you do your last 2 pushes to knock out fives.
5.
And then you're looking at Rex, right? You want to take him out next. You've got a Canderous basic coming right up after that. You can generally just tap Rex out of existence just with Canderous, and now you've got Arc and Echo still standing. So at a Relic 5 Sabine with the Zeta on her AoE ability, takes them both fairly low on health and does apply debuffs. By the way, I had her in an offense cross. Don't do that, guys. Have her in a potency cross. Do her the service of having her up and over 100% potency because you really want those exposes. But I found that at Relic 5, what happens is she does this, they're damaged, and then you have Bo-Katan go next with her AoE, and I was having one of those 2 troopers survive, and then gas stands back up, and you end up having to do the do again, and you lose people. All right. At Relic 7 Sabine,
she starts getting wild at that point.
yeah, it gets hairy. You end up clearing it for like 53, something like that. The banners ain't great, but you get it done. At Relic 7, though, she does enough damage such that they're both probably at red health, and they have some exposes on them, and Bo-Katan sews them right up. And it was great. It was 60 banners for me the last time I did it, so I can't speak highly enough of doing this way. So I just wanted to cover that here for you guys who aren't knowing about using this Droidica in this way. Very high value. And I got an answer here. Dagger answered about, where does GG8 have limitations against Starkiller? If Xeris is in the mix. That makes sense, right? You're relying on big punches out of GG to do your damage, so that could punish it. But then if it's Xeris down and not GK, then I guess you have the option of CLS, right? And people are using CLS against gas a lot of the time, and now you see that I use Maul for that purpose because CLS has higher purposes than just gas. That's my view.
CLS is kind of like your solver for a lot of those difficult mid-range to high-end teams.
Mm-hmm.
Just because what he can do off the bat, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think
there's
it
so much
requires very
damage.
specific modding. I know Dagger could elaborate on that because he does it. I've never done this, but I know that there's ways to have CLS modded to take out SLK. SLK is not getting a lot of feature on defense these days. People are saving it for that nice easy cheese against Lord Vader. But it's something worth exploring. CLS is definitely like an S tier team.
Yeah. They were always my favorite team. Even before Chupio came out, they were my favorite team. I went for him before Darth Revan even because I was just I fucking love this team.
Mm-hmm.
And and bonus, I had a great Rebel fleet. Early because Negotiator and Malevolence hadn't come out yet, so that was a bonus.
And guys, I said this probably closer off to 8 months ago something, but the trend is coming. They're going to add more stuff into fleet, and I'm calling it. Maybe within the next 6 months, I think certainly within this year, we're going to see on GAC the fleet zone expanded to 3 fleets.
I absolutely think that's going to happen.
It's growing. The significance of fleet is only growing.
Yeah, well, they tipped their hand a long time ago on where they saw fleets when they stopped doing GAC without fleets.
Yep.
right? Like, I think that was where they were like, all right, guys, we gave you a break. We give you some with fleets and some without, and everybody bitches about the fleets because they don't want to work on them.
Hmm.
Well, we're just going to take that away. And then, like I said when they had two in a row with fleets, I was like, I don't think we're ever going to get another one without fleets. I said because one of my longtime viewers, he hates fleets. He just doesn't work on his fleets at all.
Mm.
So I was kind of like, you might want to start working on your fleets there, buddy,
What a
because
punish. Yep.
yeah, and it was really an interesting thing because I was like, you know what? Sooner or later, they're going to have multiple fleets going down. It's not just going to be two. Because when they had Negotiator and Malevolence, once again, they tipped their hat. They're like, well, we can't just, like at the time, they both countered each other kind of thing. So it's like,
Yeah.
they can't have it where you just set your Negotiator or your Malevolence and attack it with the other. Like, that's not what they want from that, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, they're going to expand. And then they did the expansion, and then people were bitching again. But I was like, it didn't matter to me, even at low GP. At the time, I had four good, well-developed fleets. So I was like,
Right.
I'm cool.
Right.
Like, so it was one of those, like, I always just tried to stay ahead. Like what I was talking about earlier today is just, for me, fleets are always my number one. That was how
Hmm.
I first started getting crystals. That was, how I control my GAC matches is through fleets. And I think fleets are uh, you know, ignore them at your fucking peril, basically.
Yep. Yep. I want to catch. I want to spring. I mean, I completely agree with you there. I don't want to discount what you just said because, yeah, I mean, fleets. Don't ignore your fleets, people. Put love into them. Their power is only growing. I'm sure if your guild is trying to be competitive in TW, you're probably make or breaking your match on fleets
On the
these days.
fleets,
Yeah,
100%.
that's the way.
When
That's the way of things.
it's like
And go ahead.
even before Executor, TWs were won and lost on fleets on the zones,
Yeah.
like just straight up. So
It was more of a
yeah,
solved puzzle back then. It was more reliable to get your clears because, like I said, it's a clown fiesta with Executor.
yeah, you never know how an Executor counter is going to go. So you just kind of grab your balls and dive in.
That's right.
Um,
This is
but
the
but
way.
before, yeah, it was basically, are they the type that are going to put all of their negotiators on defense? Are they the type to split? Are they the type that are going to set, all their malevolences, thinking that we're going to take all of our malevolences on offense? So like, that was what TW strategy was all about back before when it came to fleets. It was like, well, we know in the history that they like to set, this, and this with this kind of setup for their malevolence. So we want to make sure that we've got, like our rebel counters ready to go and all this stuff. Like, uh, and then all of a sudden the executor dropped and it was like, well, fleets suck. Because you're just like, well, we know they're going to set all their executors and we just got to fucking deal with it and see where we stand at the end of the executors, you know?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a solved puzzle, and now there's a lot more to it.
Variants. Yeah.
It's a very interesting time. Now, Dagger wanted me to mention here. Have you talked about how great a spot the game is? Yeti and I did talk about that briefly before we started upstream. I'm glad you brought it up. The game in general we'll cover in a second, but GAC in particular, this is what I'm here for, guys. I mean, yes, it's great that I think that they're rewarding you for being good at GAC with by having the crystals moved into it. Nobody's phoning it in on GAC anymore. I don't know about you guys. I'm nobody I know is encountering auto sets anymore. So I think that's a huge benefit to the game because that deflated a lot of people from wanting to play GAC. Is like, look at you trying to come up with your plan and strategy, and then some asshole just has their whole roster dumped up front because they don't care. That's a fair thing that GAC has really improved, and the matches in general are much harder. I know some people don't like that. Every match is a sweat. Every match is a struggle, but you're not going to be a worse player for your trouble. I mean, you can only get better.
Well,
And
yeah.
then, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, what just to touch in on that, like I'm one of those where at one time, like I loved the hard matchups I would get. Like so, during the month, I would get like maybe one good matchup a week, maybe, and that good matchup was always a lot of fun, and it was intense and everything. The idea that of doing three of those a week though is a little bit daunting. Like
I was
I'm
treating them the
it.
same way before and after
Yeah.
this. I'm applying the same method, the same effort. So maybe for me, I was always trying too hard, and now I'm just swimming, along
Well,
easily.
well, it's not so much that like I mean I prep the same for kind of everybody. It might have my like way of doing it. It was what I'm talking about is like when you have that tough matchup, like it was an intense stream. Like it was one of those because for me it's like I'm trying to drink and have fun and be entertaining and also not fuck up, which is but against a weaker opponent, if you fuck up once, it's like I maybe could lose this, maybe But against a good opponent, you fuck up once, you probably lost. Like they then have to fuck up. Like they have one fuck up they have to make, just to try to overcome it.
You're right.
So I think that would be really intense and. It's like I wouldn't have had an issue doing it. It's just like it would have been quite the bedding in period of trying to almost get over the fact that I'm not going to have easy battles, you know?
Yeah.
Because like having an easy Wednesday and then like a Friday where I can just get lit and just have a good time and it doesn't matter. Like that was fun too. Do you know what I mean? Even though I was kicking children,
Yeah.
so it was. And then like your Sunday, the championship matchup or something, you'd have like a real according to Hoyle player from like a top guild, and you're like, all right, I gotta fucking do this properly,
I hear
and
you.
make sure have a different like defensive setup. Like I had a way, like I would set a pretty standard defense against bad players. Like I'd set roughly the same thing because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But against good players, you have to come up with a little bit different strategy and be like, well, he sees this sort of defense all the time. So how do I switch this up to kind of handcuff him a little bit? Um,
No, I dig it.
and it, yeah, and then kind of look at how they like, their tendencies on what they like to do on attack and what counters they like to use. And then I try to draw out some counters and, cause them problems that way. Just any way I can make them make tough decisions and make bad decisions while doing it. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, or force them to make a decision that was going to cost them later, regardless. Like if I could find if they were pretty straightforward and did similar stuff, I could do it that way. But in GAC as it stands now, I think like that would be really difficult because you can only come up with so many different strategies, and you're tipping your hand a lot in your history. That said, there would be a little bit more variance, I think. So that would be probably pretty good because it would be harder for them to scout you, but also by vice versa, it would be harder to scout themselves. So are you officially coming in? No, I mean, Kylo, I only miss the community, man. I miss the streams in the community. I don't miss the game at all. Like, it's really weird. Like, I thought I would miss the game, and I just don't. Like, this is what I miss, just sitting here chatting with y'all kind of thing. And I do miss this part of it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's just I didn't like the way that they moved the game. It's just man, Conquest is just so terribly
It's
bad.
onerous, man. It is
Yeah,
onerous.
it's so terribly bad. It's such a ball acher. And then they lock everything good behind it because they want to force you to do it because they went ahead and made it. So they're like, we need to get interaction in this game mode. So we're going to incentivize you to do it. Whereas literally, the point where I decided to quit was when the money aspect came into Conquest and it didn't let me bypass bullshit. Like I would have kept playing and would have bought whatever they fucking offered to get a leg up in Conquest if they let me skip some of the grind with cash. I
Yeah.
would have kept playing and I would have been fine.
Yeah.
But when they didn't let me when cash didn't guarantee I could skip grind, I was like, well, I'm done with this game. Because I just like, well, I'm not doing this. Like I didn't like it as is. They made it worse when Maul was being released.
Yeah.
They made that grind so ugly. And then I literally when the mall change happened is when I was deciding to quit, where I was like, you know what, I don't really want to play this anymore. But I knew they were coming out with a cash option for Conquest, and in back of my head, I was like, if it's like 30 to $60 to skip Conquest, basically, that's fine. I'll do that.
Yeah. I
You know, and then when it didn't happen that way, I was like, well, I'm just not doing this conquest. And if I can't do that, I can't really be competitive, and therefore there's no reason to play.
yeah.
So
Well,
that was
let
it.
me let me tag back into a couple comments that we missed during the discussion. Yeah, people like Belor. He's hating, the new GAC because it's just you get matched up against these mega rosters. Like if you're doing well, you're going to be matched up against people that are absurdly bigger than you. My
Yeah.
my opponent here for second round for this canceled match that we had, he's like 8.1. I want to say like I've got 1.5 million GP on him, but that tells you in itself that guy was a serious as hell player. Like what the hell is he doing
Yeah.
fighting me, right? Like, granted, I had a lot of weight on him, and I feel like I was favored to win. I had a lot of GP, I had a lot of mods on him. But I'm fighting serious people. I don't get jokers anymore, right? I mean, I hear you guys saying you don't like to spend all the time that you have to do on GAC just to take it seriously because you need to, because you need the crystals. I see that, and I am sorry that y'all feel that way because for me, GAC was always my favorite mode, and I was always spending a lot of time on it, trying to be the very best, like no one ever was. But
Yeah,
like,
same.
I mean,
It's like
it suits
Dak
me.
was my jam.
Yeah, it
That
suits
was
me.
the reason I played the game. Everything else was just because I need to do it to be good at GAC.
There you go.
And in like competitive territory wars, I thought used to be quite amazing as well. When they expanded the territory wars map with all the extra teams and stuff,
Yeah,
that's
they
once again
doubled it.
that's
Yeah.
just that was to me it was just like, well, no, like this is stupid.
It's burning out
Like,
your TW leads, man. They need to extend attack
yeah,
phase to 36 hours so that you're not like pinging people at 4 a.m. in their time trying to wake them up because you need them to do their fights. That it is
yeah.
horseshit that they haven't increased the attack period.
Absolutely. I mean, they doubled the amount of teams you have to battle, but they didn't increase the time at all, which is
Insane,
dumb. They should
insane.
double the time. They should be one TW in the week and not two. And the reward should be, scaled so that the one is, worth the win of two or whatever,
Interesting.
and the losses are worth two losses or something, right?
Interesting.
Um, that's what they have to do because they need to increase the time. And when they didn't increase the time right away, I was like, well, you guys are fucking dumb. Like this is
Yeah.
the same issue that you had when you released the new Rancor, where you have to have all these people online at the same time and doing all, well, you can't coordinate that. And you shouldn't because it asks too much of your everyday life,
It does.
especially if you're a TW lead. Holy shit. Could you
I
like
feel bad for mine. I mean, in Shadowlands Vanguard, we got a great team of people that work hard, but you can just see it when you're like looking at the TW planning chat and everything. They're like, this just takes so much time. Just trying to think
yeah,
of it. I have nothing but sympathy for everybody's TW leads. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I wanted to cover something else here. I asked Dagger a minute ago in the chat because he was talking about how robust the state of the game is, talking about how many different non GL counters there are to GLs these days, and I asked him to list them out just for the sake of the record. So you've got General Grievous against JML and C. I've never tried that. I'd love to do that sometime though. I guess I'm gonna start keeping GG a lot more for offense, guys. I love setting like GG Nuke and GG Newt on defense, but he's having a higher calling, right? I used to like setting
Yeah.
CLS on defense. Those days are behind me for the most part too, because he's just too valuable on offense now. And I guess GG is
I
moving in the same direction.
It's like I rarely set CLS on defense only if I really knew it would handcuff him.
Right.
And the reason is just because he literally solved so many problems for me that like whenever I wasn't quite sure, like they were my free agent team.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I wasn't quite sure and they were a pretty good team, they got my CLS. Like that was just how I solved all these issues.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tended to set most of my strong teams on defense. I take like one or two GLs on offense, and then CLS was always on offense. Troopers on offense. Bounty hunters on offense. These teams that I could use against multiple teams and counter multiple things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, like, and here's the crazy
Use
thing:
at a premium.
CLS are always a relevant team. So as soon as they start losing versatility, expect a new character for the CLS team to come out because that's what they do. They keep that team super relevant because of the place of those characters in the canon.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know,
Well, let me
like
let me
I
expound out a couple more of these counters Dagger mentioned. CLS
oh
also
yeah,
versus JML and Slacker. I knew about the Slacker. JML is interesting. I guess you would really have to have some banging tenacity spread around because otherwise you're shut down by Flux, right? So I guess there's another high call for the tenacity to be spread out. JKR versus Slacker is a classic, of course. Maul versus C. Yep, we know that one already. Darth Revan versus C. I guess I haven't seen that one too much, but against JML, yes, that's a known thing. Oh wow, DR also against JMK Cat. Wait, what is that? Has a
no.
reliable
He
two
says
shot.
JMK Cat has a reliable two shot. He said.
JMK
So
Cat.
yeah. So that's not DR. That's
Oh, okay.
something else.
Yeah, it's something else, not specified. Okay,
Yeah.
Gas versus Ray, we know about. Mom Mothma versus Ray, yeah, I've seen that. Wasn't that something Fatal did against his match versus Arnold? Geos versus Ray, really? Against like a straight Ray team, or are you talking a cleanup? I would think it's more of a cleanup thing, but SK versus all of them, yeah, I can't wait to try it. I mean, I'm a long way away from Starkiller, right? You saw my situation, guys. I'm working on all of them, but you got Dash. See, I have him parked at 50 because I'm going to bank up 4,000 crystals and buy his other 50 shards. Right now, we're on the horse for farming up Kyle. And then Mara Jade just got added to Cantina as well. This is killing my signal data farm, guys. And of course, I'm
Yeah.
not getting myself the opportunity to pick up a random Omicron mat because I can't afford to farm that stuff right now. But yeah, no, those are interesting.
One thing that I was going to ask about was is Starkiller that strong that he can kill all the GLs?
I know that he's usable. I've seen matches with him killing like three of them. Presumably, you know, I'm sure there's a comp out there that exists such that you can go after any GL. I would imagine. Um,
Yeah, because what I was thinking is that, you know, obviously I wasn't playing when you know everything got announced for Starkiller, but we knew he was coming to the game. I was thinking to myself, Starkiller would be the dark side JKL, basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, by
where
the way, Cascade Fallen, I see you out there, first time chatter. You're in my fleet shard. See you at the top, buddy. I love my shard. A generally very cooperative, fun group of guys, and yeah, I mean I start my climb like from 6 every day for the most part. So we'll see you on up there, yeah. Dagger saying, yeah, I said from the very beginning, TW should have had 36 hours on attack. 2 wars is fine. Just need the extra 12 hours. I could be down with that. And then he says Geos against Ray Bros. So a very standard comp. I can see that, yeah. Take in a team, and then against JMK Cat, he's saying, take in a team to kill Cat, generally bounty hunters, and then like 5 teams beat JMK after that. Yes, JMK without Cat is pretty toothless. I've used Bad Batch. I've used Bad Batch against Ray. I don't know if you know. I don't know how much you've done this yourself before you quit Yeti, but Bad Batch, having a bulked out wrecker like this, check this out. It was a Ray Cat team. I used C and I killed the cat, and I think it was Vandor that I fried. So it was like Padme and L3 still standing, something like
yeah.
that, or maybe it was Vandor and Padme still standing. But it was a Ray cleanup, and Bad Batch was able to take two. This wrecker here was able to take 2 whirlwinds and
Hmm,
eat 2 ults from Ray, and we still wrap that up for full banners. How's
that's
that crap?
crazy. That's pretty crazy, actually.
It is. It is. Now, obviously, he's got some robust stats here. The armor's also pretty high, over 70%.
Yeah.
But, guys, Bad Batch is just a bonkers team. It's credible. It is
Yeah,
incredible.
they were fun. Like I just got them pretty usable right before I quit, basically. Because I was like 2 characters away from Lord Vader or 3 characters away from Lord Vader or something when I quit. And so I had like my Bad Batch done, except for Omega. I didn't have her. She was farmed up, nearly done, I think. Um, or I was working on her anyway, working on
Mm-hmm.
her farm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but they were fun because you could just go in and just get full banners against so many teams. Like
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. You don't see a lot of the Darth Maul lead Sith teams anymore just because it's just boo boos people. Dagger's saying the JMK Cat requires the EP, Mara, and GK comp with Starkiller. I'm assuming this is regarding Starkiller to kill it. Otherwise, the other 5 get shit on with non-ridiculous comps. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Starkiller has no equivalent to anything before him, IMO, but he is the GAC counterpart to Dad Bob, Boba, and TW. Yeah, don't underestimate his power, but this is the thing about him, Yeti, is you've got to set the team that meets his condition to have his unique
yeah,
pop off. Because I had an opponent last round,
we
he
said it
screwed
wrong.
up. He screwed up. He was missing his light side unaligned force user in the comp, and it's a complete just garbage team, absolute garbage team, unless you have that unique condition met for him to have
Yeah,
1 Sith, 1 Jedi, 1 dark side unaligned, and 1 light side unaligned. I'm telling you.
yeah.
Um, let's we're getting late into this, man. We're finishing up into the third hour here. I want to give you some time here, Yeti. You got anything you want to talk about? You want to plug for something? I want to start moving to wrapping up because I don't want to suck up your whole afternoon here.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I'm like, I should probably get moving.
Yeah, I mean we're over time, and guys, it's been great discussion. Love having you here. This has been a great talk. So I've enjoyed all of this. But yeah, the soapbox is yours, Yeti. You got something to say?
Not really. I was ranting and raving earlier. I told a Danger Dave story. I was talking about alcohol for a fairly long time. I think we've pretty much covered it.
It's true. It's true. Well, I'll tell you what then. Guys, thank you all so much for being here. Of course, thank you so much, Yeti. It's great to catch up with you. I know that you don't miss the game. Whatever it's going to take to keep you engaged with the rest of us, don't be a stranger. Please stick around.
Yeah.
We
Well, my
enjoy
my
you so
dis
much.
my Discord is still live and kicking.
Oh, yeah,
There's
yeah,
still
I
a lot
see
going
you.
on there. So I do get a little bit of tidbits here and there from them when they talk about the game in chat,
Hmm.
which is pretty good. It keeps me kind of semi up to date. Um, and we still get some good discussions in there. Although lots of football talk because of the playoffs and everything.
Yeah. I'm not really a sports guy, so I can't really make a meaningful contribution to that. But
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
let's wrap up and do the needful. I want to go ahead and plug for the Patreon. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. So. I have something for everybody at my Patreon. Check it out. You want to learn about modding. You want to learn about optimizing the mods you got on your roster. You want to talk about GAC strategy, defense, and attack. I am your man. Come check it out. Come check me out. We have merch on the page. I'm looking at adding a couple new things. Yeti might be interested to know. I'm looking at adding some, Tass branded
Hey,
Scotch
gotta
glasses.
have
Scotch
gotta have
glasses,
some
bro.
merch there.
We're
Yeah.
gonna do the Scotch glasses soon. I'm gonna be looking into that, man. We'll see about getting you one. I'll figure that out.
Hey, we
Thank
can
you for
make that
running my
work.
links, Stagger. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeti.
I was just saying, yeah, we can make that work.
Oh yeah,
Oddly
yeah, yeah,
enough,
yeah. I gotta get you a Scotch
Scotch
glass.
glasses do get used in my house.
I believe you. I believe you. And of course, guys, we got to thank the patrons themselves. They make all this possible. They help me justify the enormous amount of time I spend on this. So, VIP access level, of course, Trevor Boy Gaming. He was our guest last Task Talk, and I guess he liked the cut of my jib enough to sign up. So, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your support. Ryan, White Wolf, Sam Vimes. We talk almost every day. Appreciate your support. I know you guys have been enjoying your GAC season before it shit the bed here, so yeah, I mean it is what it is. Elite Wolf, you're also recent to the club. Appreciate you being here. It's always a pleasure. Jester's Club Absolution. Now Absolution, you're actually here today, so you can hear me do my spiel. Come back to the game, buddy. You know you want to. You already got that foot in the door. You can't leave us. You thought you could. Maybe you thought you could, but you can't. Come on back. You know it. You know it. Jester's Club Platinum. Eric Rose, my most frequent coaching client. Love working with you. I'm glad you've been enjoying your results here the last couple of months. And sorry that your season got shut out with the rest of us, because I know you're really looking forward to these next couple of matches. All right, guys. I guess that's enough on the Patreon. Let's go ahead and see about rating you back on out to another worthy streamer. Let's see who's cracking. What do we got? What do we got? Oh man, y'all know I gotta send you to see Jigabachi. We gotta send you to see Jigabachi. All right, let's get that rolling, guys. All right, last comments to you, Yeti. Thanks again so much for being here. It's nothing but a pleasure to see you. And anything you want to say to the good people before we part ways?
Just thanks for having me on. It was good to come in and have a chat and chat with all y'all. And thanks for being in chat, everybody. I appreciate you listening to someone like myself.
Hey,
In the early morning without a whiskey.
do you still stream? You still stream anything? I'll plug your channel here real quick.
Um, I haven't been. I've been thinking about doing some more chatting streams and stuff because those are still fairly popular.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'll probably do one of those soon because I'm getting along. I'm at my 2-year anniversary, so I should probably do a stream for that.
Congratulations. I
Thinking.
would tune in to
Um,
watch you get shitty and play Civ and talk about whatever for the record. I would tune in for that.
that is something that very, very, very much could happen.
All right. All right, guys, we're going to start up the raid. Again, thank you all so much for being here, and we'll catch you. I don't know. I mean, I'm planning on some new content. I don't want to announce it here too quickly for next week, but we're gonna be doing more things, some big things. Stay tuned on my Discord if you want to keep up with the very latest. But we'll get this raid underway. And again, thank you all so much. We'll see you real soon.